Hey everyone, welcome.
Hey! Is this thing on?
I just noticed how I was too comfortable in my seat. I was just slanted like crazy when I started this.
Yeah. Also, the way you said the welcome was exactly the same as the first stream where we were memeing. Hey, nice one.
It's a
nice
recording.
It is a recording.
All right, how's everyone doing? I forgot to update the title. I just realized, but quick knock on wood here. Okay. Hopefully everything is good today. Like, hopefully there's no issues. Like, sync's good. Aliana already kind of confirmed that sync is fine.
I think we're good. I think we figured it out.
Like, do we dare talk about it, or is this gonna like mess up, or like?
Well, it's too late now.
I don't know.
PC explodes.
Yeah, but third time's the charm. Okay,
Yeah.
That's all I'm saying. So welcome everyone to State of Dev, our little weekly talk show podcast, not podcast, actually a little show that we're breaking here on Twitch.
We usually go with show.
Yeah.
Yep. And for those of you new tuning in, maybe you're watching on YouTube later on the VOD or something like that, catching up, or you just stumbled upon it for the first time. We're both solo game developers, Snutt and I, and we both work on our own stuff. And so that's what we talk a little bit about that, but we also talk about just like game stuff in general, like game dev stuff, but then also just talk about games and stuff. So it's just an excuse to hang out, basically, and we'll talk a little bit about games too. Yeah.
We'll see.
So that's basically it.
That's it. Hope you're all doing good. Very not productive week for me this week.
Yeah, same actually.
Well, it's like half and half, honestly. But it's fine. We'll get into that. But today we're going to talk a little bit about our state of our games, and then we're going to talk a little bit about the Game Jam. What's it called? Game Makers Toolkits Game Jam, right?
Yep. Some stuff about that,
a little stuff about that, and some stuff about game jams in general. And then we'll hang out with you guys, and we'll talk about other shit, I guess. We'll see what happens.
Yes.
There's a little bit of part of this show is like we do prepare what we do in the show, but like I think we also are kind of comfortable with just like seeing where it takes us and see where the conversation takes us.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, I think that's part of the reason of why it's also like a live show too. And I mean, like we've sort of thought a little bit back and forth of like how much should we stop the flow and chat with chat or whatever. But like I don't know, like we got to find that sweet spot. But we definitely want to like incorporate y'all in it too, so that so that the show can kind of have a life of its own with all of us included. So yeah.
Hope you're all doing good. Week 3 and still going strong. Who would have thought?
Exactly. Why do you have deja vu? Because we're attempting a format. That's why.
Yeah.
Hello, everyone.
We'll see how much it sticks.
Yeah.
I hope you're all doing good.
Yeah.
There's not been too many like news in the game dev industry this past week or so. The only thing that I want to mention real quick that I thought was kind of newsworthy, that I thought was pretty interesting, was so this weekend Battlefield are having their like public beta thingy. So Battlefield 6, they kind of like, I'm not sure if they shadow dropped Battlefield 6 or not, but it kind of came out of nowhere for me. It looks pretty dope. But one thing that I thought was really cool was that they have like an extension to Battlefield where you can create like your own maps and shit, and they're using Godot to be able to do that.
Oh, interesting.
Yeah, so like it's like an editor that community will get access to, and they briefly showed it off in like their segments where they build like a funny custom map where you flew through rings and shit. And it was Godot. It was straight up Godot.
Oh, that's so sick. Yeah. Godot mentioned.
Yeah.
Godot mentioned.
Yeah. And game dev world freaked out on Twitter. We're like, what the fuck? It's just straight up Godot.
Why wouldn't you use it?
Yeah.
Why not? Especially if it's going to be a tool that you want like others to use. Hey, free open source thing.
It looked really interesting.
Yeah.
I'm not sure.
That's exciting.
I'm not sure if I can bring it up or anything, but it's just like a plain editor view. How do I full screen this? All right, now
that will give a boost to Godot. Yeah, absolutely.
No, for sure. I mean, it's clever because like Godot is open source, and you are allowed to like fork the engine and make your own like version of it. So I guess that's basically what they've done. It's just forked the engine and then added like a level editor that they made.
Right.
And then,
Yeah, like you just shipped it with the tools. Yeah.
And then somehow they get the edits.
Yeah.
And bring it into Battlefield 6.
And actually, this is another really good thing that came up. JetBrains actually sponsored Godot as well.
Oh, really?
Yes, that was news. When did that drop? Yesterday, today, or yesterday? Something like that, right? What are they? The Platinum sponsors or something like that? Let's see. JetBrains. I did see that.
Yeah, I use Writer all the time.
Yeah, I don't use it. I'm super curious about it, but
yeah, I only use it since their Unreal Engine like integration is so good. It's better than Visual Studio's, to be fair. But that's basically because they made like a custom, because it used to be the custom editor that was just made for Unreal Engine that they made. That was just so much faster than Visual Studio, and it was like day and night. And I remember when some of us at the studio at Coffee Stain, when we worked there, like some would switch and try it out, and it's like, holy shit, this is so good. And there were a couple of people that were like, I'm not switching, I'm using Visual Studio. And I think now everyone is using Writer. So like they even the non-believers switched.
They did.
Yeah.
I'm speaking of switching, I'm gonna do this. Trying to use our technology here. Okay, if I do it, boop, this maybe works.
Oh, sweet.
Nice, check that out, folks. Not bad, not bad. All right, so yeah, you can see here. So Godot, this is from the Godot website. JetBrains is now a Platinum sponsor. Pretty huge. I believe.
But what does that mean? What does that mean?
Platinum sponsor?
Yeah.
So I think there are different levels. I don't know this exactly, but I believe that there's just different levels at which that you can sponsor, right? And it's based on how much you give. And I think a Platinum sponsor, I believe maybe they give a bit of a shout out. I'm not sure exactly how the contribute maybe. I think they might.
But it's just basically I think different tiers of like, hey, if you give us money, blah blah blah, then you become this like tier sponsor. Or
exactly. And I guess there's like some exposure associated with that by having that plastered on the website. I don't know exactly. If anyone knows in chat right now, that would be really good. I came across it earlier because
I'm assuming Godot's full like financial like thing right now is just those like sponsorships.
Yeah.
Because they're not selling Godot services, are they? Or
no, they don't. So it is these sponsorships. So here we can see the sponsorship page. I found this the other day because I was looking into this. And if you want to do, if you don't have to be a business to donate either. I think that you can just, as an individual or like whatever, you could just donate. So there's a lot of people who do like repeated donations to help. But then down here you can see like the bigger companies who donate at different levels. So the higher tier, the bigger their logo, and people can kind of see, which is pretty interesting. But also, like one thing that I learned from this as well was I actually didn't know that JetBrains had like free versions for learning and stuff, and for non-commercial, right? Yeah, free for non-commercial here. That's kind of cool. So if you ever wanted to get into checking out Writer or whatever, you can.
Very nice. I really hope that they keep that like monetization model for Godot. It's very similar to Blender, right? They also do something like that.
Yeah, I'm actually not sure of how Blender do it, but I mean, I imagine it is something like that. I think that there's a lot of like developers or companies out in the space who give back a lot, especially like folks who've made games or products that end up becoming very, very successful. They're like, we couldn't have done it without this tool, So we're going to put like a large chunk of our money back into this tool so that it can stay alive and others can, benefit from it as well. So that's pretty nice. Question from Bits here. Who is JetBrains for us non-devs? It's my neighbor, JetBrains McGee. No. JetBrains is it's okay. So maybe you can break it down more because I haven't used it. So JetBrains is a company.
It's a company.
One of their softwares is Writer, but they have other software, right? So you can explain it better than I can because I haven't used it.
The thing that they're mostly known for is they make like IDEs, which are development environments. So like Notepad, but it's more advanced. If I want to dumb it down really. So it's basically like a full suite of tools that you use to like code games, or not just games, to code anything in programming languages. They have different editors for different languages. They have like one for C#, and they have like tools for web development as well, I believe. I've only used the one they have for Unreal Engine. So what they did like a couple of years ago was, so when you programmed in Unreal Engine specifically, your only option was to use Visual Studio, which is another IDE that's made by Microsoft. And the biggest issue with Visual Studio when you're coding C++ is that it's very slow, because C++ projects have a lot of like, I'm not sure exactly why this is just like something that you have to accept when you program C++, when you have really big projects, is that like all the like indexing of files and like management of all that stuff, so you can like look up quickly and blah, 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 is really, really slow, because it has, there's something with the language that just makes it really, really hard to make it performant. And then JetBrains made a new editor that was targeted specifically for Unreal Engine developers. That was basically just like, hey, here's an editor that indexes like Unreal Engine project really, really fast, and it's really, really smooth to use. And there's also an extension you get to Unreal Engine that like also like makes it so you can look up in like the visual scripting language, the blueprint part of Unreal, to also tell the code like in the editor when it's being like referenced, which does not exist for Visual Studio, which is really nice, because you can, when you're coding for Unreal, it's like you're in the code world, and then when you use the editor, it's like a layer on top. But now suddenly these two layers started speaking to each other. So they made that tool. They also made, Rider is, I think, the name of their suite of tools. It's just, they make good stuff. I've talked to some of the people working there. They seem genuinely like passionate about making the tools they're working on. And especially during that time when they made that tool for Unreal Engine. And now they're contributing to Godot.
Wow.
Yeah.
Yeah, there's some like good there's like, I know that there's some like good plugins for Godot as well with Rider. Like I know that so one of the things that folks might not know is with Godot, it has GD script, which is its like the built-in programming language. It's like the native language, right, of Godot. But you can also use C# with Godot if you have the .NET engine, .NET version of Godot engine, which is what I do, right? But there are some trade-offs here and there. They're largely not really that different. But one trade-off is in GD script, if you use that version, there's like much better support for profiling, which is useful for seeing where bottlenecks are in performance in your code. And it's not as easy to sort of get that with C#, I think. But there was a plugin in Rider specifically for Godot that could actually help you do that. Now you can still profile your stuff, like you can still set timers or do whatever you need to do in C#, but it's like it didn't just come with the engine like it did with GD script, basically. So it's like folks who used Rider kind of get that.
Oh my God, Eclipse! I remember Eclipse.
I remember Eclipse as well. I think I used Eclipse with Java.
Yeah,
way back when.
Yeah.
Way back in university.
Oh my God.
Yeah.
What was the other? Because I remember trying Eclipse and I was like, I hate this. I want to try something else. What was the other one you used? I can't remember. It's been too long.
Notepad.exe. I remember Dreamweaver for web development.
I had a friend who was like, nah, I'm just doing Notepad. I don't want to deal with the, and that's kind of like
raw dogging it.
That's pretty, NetBeans, that's the one. That's pretty hardcore. You're raw dogging for sure using Notepad++ for programming, or like Emacs or something like that. Those people are insane to me. What do you use?
Me, I use VS Code.
Use VS Code.
Yeah. And not for any particular reason apart from that I hadn't used it before. And I oftentimes, when I see something new and shiny and I've not used it, I'm like, oh, I'll give that a shot. So I just picked that and it was free. And I'm like, okay. It's been nice. It's pretty lightweight and chill.
Yeah.
Works really well.
That's always been the frustrating thing with Visual Studio is it's a very good tool. It's very powerful, but it is a big chunk that you need to like download and like get all the dependencies for. And it like it just takes up so much RAM, and it's big chunk. So like Visual Studio Code is really nice when you just want that. You just want the editor part of it. You don't really care about the like continuous integration shit. Because there's a lot of tools that I don't even use in Visual Studio with like.
I think that's the issue with it, right? It's just such a big like old like thing too. I mean, maybe it's been refreshed or something, but my impression is that like it's probably something that they're trying to keep support for moving forward, and that's kind of hard, especially when it tries to do so much.
In Microsoft's defense, one thing they're really good at is maintaining support for like older products. So like Visual Studio still supports all these like super old what's it called, programming environments, and like you can still open projects from like 2002 without any problem. So like I understand why it is that way. It's and I appreciate it. But it's just when you just like I just want to make games and I don't really care about all the other stuff, then I just want this
basically amateur code and assembler. Oh yeah, I manually flip the bits myself.
Does it even do you even call it coding when you're in assembler? Because assembler is basically
you're assembling.
Yeah, it's basically
you're literally assembling.
Yeah. It's good times, good times. developers. Yeah. That's a good bit. But
yeah, that's a good bit.
Should we talk a little bit about our games and what's been happening?
We sort of touched that and then glanced off real quick. We can talk about our games. Do you want, I can go first?
Sure.
Do you want to go first?
You can start. So I can update.
Okay. So, much like Snutt, I didn't get a lot done this week. This week was a bit hectic, but also I was really sick. Still am a bit, but you were good. Vamonos, everybody. All right? Say it with me. Don't say it with me. Okay. So how am I going to do this? What I wanted to show today. Ooh, this is sharing desktop. That's scary. Here we go. Oh boy.
That's what I always do. I just got used
boy. To it. I'm scared.
What could possibly go wrong? Just putting NDA stuff on your screen?
Yep.
Have that pop up?
Check some stuff real quick. Okay. So, what I wanted to do real quick is I realized that last week I didn't actually show like what the Godot engine looks like. So maybe some people who've never used these things, these engines, like I think some people were interested in seeing like, oh, Unreal Engine behind the scenes. Wow. So maybe this might be interesting to y'all who haven't seen Godot. Okay. So this is one of the levels on my game that, I mean, none of this is final. It's just kind of prototype stuff. And what I wanted to show you actually was, first of all, I can just show you how things are, right? So like we've got these vending machines here. On the left-hand side, you can see this is my scene. And last week I explained something about all these nodes, and everything that you see here is a node basically, and then they're all like parented to each other. So we can see that we've got our main character here. You know, we can like show and hide it. And the main character is made of various things, like there's a shadow underneath it, et cetera, et cetera. And there's also a camera attached to it. So when we play, the camera kind of moves around with the character, and it has some slowdown and all that kind of stuff built in, as well as collision and other things attached to it. And the scene is sort of made up of all these various things. So I've got another node here, and any node can have children, which are other nodes. I have a node here, which is basically the buckets for what's required in my level design. And so, for example, in here, I can have like tile map stuff here. So if we look at this level here, we can see the tile map area with this grid, and it's where I can just draw stuff basically. So I've got this prototype tile set here, and in a tile set, this is down the bottom, we basically have all these little tiles that I can use. I can create variations on the right-hand side, which have different properties. So if I click on any tile, say I click on this one here, select this one, I can see all of its information here. So there's like information on these tiles, like animations, whatever, as well as like physics. So there's a physics layer. So there's collision at this point within the tile. If you see this little red highlighted area, you can set those individually. There's also custom data. So like, I think there might be someone here. Yeah, so this is like a 45-degree angle slope. And this I actually reference this custom data on this tile whenever I walk on it in order to like move my character in certain ways. So like you can embed data basically in the tiles. And then after you're done, you basically just paint them. So like if we wanted to, I don't know, draw some more stuff out here, I go to the tile map editor. Let's, I don't know, build some stuff out here maybe.
We're doing live development right now.
Yeah, I've got some funky stuff going on over here with the shadow. So the layers are going to be kind of weird, you know. But we can like, if I go above the floor, up a layer, and then do. Oh wow, look at that! Amazing! It's happening live. Can you believe it, folks? And then we just do the same.
This is basically what Jace does all day.
Pretty much. I'm just drawing, right? And there we are, right? This is how the tile map thing works. So I just kind of wanted to show you this part. These are all like various things. Yep. Never mind those. I have the thing that I wanted to show real quick, more than anything, is I have some plugins. So in my game, let me see if I can do this. In my game, I have a mini game.
One of many.
Yeah, one of many. Let's give this a try. I may regret this. We may regret this.
What could possibly go wrong doing it live?
What could possibly go wrong?
Yeah.
So I actually have a video talking about this, and there's a minigame I have, which is like a karaoke minigame. Okay, and so up here, so this is one of those things, one of those slopes here. You can see it slows you down when you walk up the slope. That gets that data from the tile set. And here we can open up the karaoke machine, and we should be able to sing karaoke. And there's an error, so we'll leave it, okay? We tried. But anyway, the reason I bring it up is because I have like a plugin here that I made, which is to convert MIDI information into a karaoke chart, which is basically the arrows that come down in a in the rhythm game, basically. So that's interesting. But then the other big thing is the dialogue manager. And anyone who watches my YouTube channels will have seen this dialogue manager before. I've talked about it a bunch. But basically, this is where all the dialogue for my cutscenes and stuff come from. And I built this little plugin myself, and it's really, really nice. Godot's so nice with like building plugins and like incorporating them real quick and easy. It's super, super good. And so basically, if I ever want to, you know, edit dialogue, I just come here, click edit, and then I make whatever changes I want. If I want to make new containers, I can just go new container, live stream, test. Oh, we'll do one word. Should have been fine with the space, but I don't want to test it. And then in here, I can make a new string, and this is all the information. And like the information that I can have is like, there could be a character that I want to pick. So Jamorian is a streamer. Check him out. And then I could choose like an emote if they're happy or whatever. And each character will have their own profiles, and that would update here if I had them. I can give custom names. So for example, if it's a person that you haven't met yet and you want their name to come up as a question mark, right? You can do that. You can now choose the different types of dialogue it is. Is it a regular dialogue, or is it like internal monologue dialogue? I can also decide if it's like multiple choice and what the multiple choice options are. I can do a comment here. That comment will go to localizers or for myself. And then I can specify tags, and these tags can be used to reference in cutscenes what dialogue I want to get. But it also helps me define blocks of dialogue that makes it really, really quick and easy if I want to add a lot of dialogue at a time. So that's basically what this system is. And then one other thing that's really interesting is whilst working on it and creating cutscenes, I found that this started to get quite slow. You know, when I would get into cutscenes or containers of dialogue that ended up with like maybe even just 60 or 70 of these entries, loading it would take, I don't know, not even a second to load, which is not long, but it is very annoying if every time I click, you know, away and back, it takes a second each time. It gets very, very old. Not only that, there could be cutscenes in the future that are much, much longer, or just, again, containers of dialogue that are much, much longer. So I had to do a bunch of optimization for this. I did like a lot of multi-threading stuff for that to like spin these things up and then introduce them over multiple frames and all that kind of weird stuff. So one thing I can choose here is this stress test. And you can see how quickly that popped up. It was like under a second. But if we were to scroll down at how many there are, like we have hundreds and hundreds of these, and it still took basically no time.
That's a fucking novel.
Interesting, yeah, right. But then the interesting thing is if I click away and I click back, it's even quicker. There is no load time because I've pooled all the stuff that I've created before. And what pooling means is it basically is I don't delete when I click away, I don't delete the 400 things. I just store them in memory and I recycle them later, basically. And so that's basically what I do. So there's like a lot of work that went into this to make it just really easy to use because I know I'm spending a lot of time in this thing. So, you know, it doesn't look very flashy, but it works really well and it works really great with my cutscene system too. Yeah. So that's basically all I wanted to demonstrate today, I think.
And just to clarify for everyone, this is all like the dialogue system is basically an editor that you made for yourself within the editor, so to speak.
Exactly, yeah. So this tab up here says Dialogue Manager. That doesn't exist in Godot. Yeah, it's like Godot allows me to make a plugin, add a little like button up there, and then do everything that you saw. And it's built to do that. In fact, if I understand correctly, this editor that you're looking at, I believe, was built in Godot. Like the Godot editor was built using Godot. So anything you see in the editor, I'm pretty sure I've read this somewhere that like can be done. So you want a button up here, no problem. You want something in here, you can. Like it's really crazy. Yeah. So thank you very much, Mason, for sharing the links to those relevant videos. I appreciate it. Yeah,
I really appreciate because it's the same thing in a real engine where like the engine is rendered with like the same engine as you're rendering your game. Because like then you catch all these like weird cases where, you know, if you want to make a game, then you know that it works because the editor is using the same engine to like make it work.
Yeah.
And I really appreciate that.
Good question here that I did forget to mention from RuneSun. May have missed this during ad break, but do you have it generate the localization files that are then used inside your app, or do you call it into your plugin directly somehow? So this is one of the reasons why I made the plugin, was also because I had localization in mind. Now, there's probably other ways that this could have been handled, but it does handle localization now as well. But I also made a localization plugin. For that. So Godot provides something that can help gather localization strings from various places, but you can extend that. And so I've extended that myself. And if I do project settings, localization, pot generation. So this is like a PO template. I can generate a PO template. PO is a file format for localization files. And this will generate the template of that. So if I do that, I can then use that template, give that out to localizers, and they will basically, it will get all the strings and whatever, right? And so because I can extend it, I can control completely what files to look at, where to look when generating these pot files. And so it's really nice. So I basically say, look into the dialogue folder, look through all the dialogue and generate dialogue files from here, right? Not only that, I can say I have some things called like I'm going to be leaking here. Don't look at dirty underwear, okay? Don't look at that one. Don't look at it. Don't look at it, okay? Just don't look at it, right?
It's too late.
Don't worry about it. Okay, don't worry about it. If we click on like drink blue here, this is like a item description type where I can edit like different information about this item, like the price of the item or other information. It has these like text information here. Right. I also fetch all of the item descriptions, names, name plurals, counter plurals, and things like that, and feed those into localization as well. Yeah, the fact that I have this much control, that you can just override that and have like complete granular control is just so nice. Yeah.
Very cool.
Yeah.
This is a good point also to bring up that like when you're working on games, there's a lot of tools that are made for the specificity of like making games that you never see outside of the game itself. And this is quite typical for even more so for like custom made engines as well, where like, you know, when you make a custom engine, not only do you need to make it render, you also need to, like, if you have dialogue and you want to make it maintainable to maintain it, you have to make a dialogue system. And this is true even for the games, even for engines like this. Like, there are where you basically get it for free, right? Where the engine does all the magic for you, but you still need to make so many tools to make it like feasible and like make it maintainable to work with your game. And some developers don't really care too much about that stuff. They just like hard code everything into the game and the engine, and that works too. But a lot of these like bigger teams, or when you know what you're making and you just want to like make it fun to work with your game, right? Then you sort of need to make these tools a lot. And these are tools that you never see when you play the game. This is just for the developer.
Yeah. I remember someone in my chat a long time ago in one of my dev streams was like, a lot of people don't realize that a lot of the fun of making games is making the tools. And it's like, yeah, there is a lot of fun in making these really, really nice tools. So
it's the satisfaction of like, oh, this is so annoying to do, and now it's so much more seamless.
Yep.
That's
Dance Mat controller confirmed. Well, I mean, I have controller support in my game, so hey,
who knows? And I have a couple of people have pointed this out. I know my camera is a bit off in this scene. It's better in the other scene. I'll need to adjust.
I think mine is a little too. Maybe I have to be more like this over here.
Yeah, I need to adjust.
It is what it is. But any other questions real quick? I guess I think I'm probably done. Should give some time to Snutt here. So I think I've been yapping.
Yeah, mine is going to be pretty short this week, so it's fine.
Okay.
Yeah, this is what's been going on. So let me also update the title while I'm doing this. So for my week, it's been pretty... So actually, the thing that I kind of want to talk about that I didn't talk about with you before when we synced, but the thing that I kind of want to mention today is this week has been like pretty... On paper, progress has been really slow. I've been refactoring a lot of stuff that I've had working in my game up until this point, and now I refactored it into like separate systems and made like, you know, behind the scenes a bit clever. But on paper, my game took like a big step back in terms of like functionality and feature set, right? But like there's a lot more code. And these type of like weeks is so frustrating because it's hard to like appreciate the work that goes into making it just more maintainable for yourself. And it's like I worked on my game now for a couple of months, and I'm like a bit frustrated with the state that I'm in right now. And it's probably because I haven't been able to like sit down and work, you know, 8 hours a day on my game. I've had so much other stuff to do all the time. And I think I've reached this like point now where I just feel like I need to focus more on my game, and I need to like actually, you know, I've been prototyping now for a while, but there's so many ideas that I still haven't gotten down like on paper even. And I just want to get it into my game and like actually start making the game instead of just making a prototype. You know what I mean?
That's a mood.
Yeah. So this week has been like, this is setting the stage for me to be able to do that with a lot of the systems. And it's just really frustrating because it feels like I'm not really getting anything done. It's like a week of nothing new happened. You know what I mean? But it is happening technically. It's just that
Yeah. I mean, it sounds like if I don't know if it's specifically what you're referring to, but it is kind of like the tech debt thing and paying that off. If things aren't feeling that great, you know, working with your game because things feel a little brittle or whatever because of how things have developed. I mean, it is important to pay that off, and that is progress. It is progress to do that. So
yeah, and that's true as well for like things where when you try different avenues and you don't like end up using them in your game. This is still work that went into your game, and it's still useful work.
Yeah, exactly. It's like creative stuff, right? Yeah.
So I don't know. It's frustrating because like I'm like looking forward to another part of the process, like figuring out the art pipeline for my game and like figuring out what I want to do with the art and you know, that part feels so far right now. It feels like there's so many more steps I need to take before I can get to that point. And I don't know. That's just been a mood this whole week. It's just like I thought I was going to be done with this thing yesterday, and then like, oh, I need to fix this though, and then I come up with another thing, and then I'm like, oh, I need to make this system now.
I think I'm getting more and more numb to that process.
Yeah.
Oh, hey, another week where I didn't quite get done what I was hoping. Wow,
Yeah, exactly.
wow,
Yeah.
surprising.
And this is a production thing. This is also something I'm aware of. This is also the extra frustrating part of it too, is like, I know that this is a thing that happens, and this is something you have to be accustomed to, because that, you know, when you sit down, a lot of times when you work on projects, you sit down and like estimate like, how long do we think it's going to take to do this thing? And then you just add add 1.3 times that, and you'll get closer to what you might think. But it's more like double
fudge
the time.
factor.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The fudge factor. And that's something that like I'm like so aware of, but it emotionally, I'm not ready for it. You know what I mean? Like, it's emotionally, I see it happening and I'm like, no, I want to get further. And then you go like on Twitter or Blue Sky and see like, here's me demoing my game, and like, oh, it's pretty much done. And I'm like, oh shit, I can't do something like that. So I don't know. It's been one of those weeks where it's been frustrating. I'm getting a lot of stuff done, but I'm just coding away.
You don't feel yourself moving forward.
Yeah.
Right.
I'm just like re-implementing the same thing over and over again, basically.
Nice. And maybe try Control S and save your work instead. What do you think about that, Snutt?
It feels good when you look at the commit history.
That's true.
Yeah. You'll see like,
your GitHub's going to look great.
I made a lot of commits this week, but game stood still, so to speak. But that's basically been my week. I've been reworking my equipment system specifically, because it used to be that I hard-coded everything into the player controller. So like whenever you interacted with anything, it was always through the play controller. Now I have separate systems that handle that instead. So like when you use an equipment piece, the equipment piece holds the logic for the thing you're doing. Cool. I'm also diving into the new input system that Unreal had, where you can add like input context. So when you pull up an equipment piece in my game, you can interact with things in a different way. You get more input, and you can actually map it so that like, wait, let me actually paint this out, because I think it's easier to explain this if I actually draw a little bit on screen.
Are we gonna get some MS Paint today? Oh my god!
Actually, we're gonna get some fucking My Paint, which is a piece of software that I'm trying out that I kind of like, actually.
Oh my god!
Switch that scene. So the way it works on Unreal Engine is like, you have inputs. Say like it's a controller, right? Button A, button B on your controller, and those two. Actually, let me do it this way. Those two do so like, this is jump, and this is like fire or something. And this is generic, right? So the way it works is like, this is a context. Here's like input that's for this is like the default input, let's say. And then when I equip like when I equip a hat, now I want B to like tip my hat, right? So the way it works is like, when you add a new context on top of the context, this now takes precedence. So the B button is no longer fire, it's the tip the hat thing. And it's very seamless. So like when I unequip my hat, this context goes away and it goes back to fire. Right. And this has been really, really good, actually. I've not quite delved into like the new enhanced input system until now. And it's very seamless. So like every time I equip it, it just changes the context or adds the context. So I don't have to worry about like states.
I really like that setup.
Yeah. Because the nice thing with this is like, I don't have to care about states anymore, because, you know, if you equip something, so the way it works in my game is like, when you equip an item, like the character will like equip it and it'll hold the thing. Like, here's my stick. And then when I unequip it, I just hide the stick, but it's still present in the world. What?
Your character's got a little doodle. That's not allowed on Twitch.
He's got a big leg.
He's got 3 legs.
Don't worry about it.
Okay. Yeah. All right, cool.
So like when I unequip the stick is still like in the game world. So it can still like get input, right? It'll still exist. But with this system, since there's no context anymore for the stick, it won't like listen to this, right? So I don't need to worry about it. It's just like I just remove the input, and then that's that with that.
That's pretty nice.
Yeah.
Yeah. No, I can definitely see that when how useful that can be in games where that context can change so often, so rapidly, and like so varied. You know.
Yeah.
In my case, I feel like it may not change too much. Like it's like when you enter a different mini game, I'm like I basically disable all of the default input is the way it sort of works right now. And like that's fine in my case, right? But like I can just imagine in another case where like you're picking up random things that have different ability. Like you don't want to if else that shit. You just need something to be like, this is what we're using now. Yeah.
Yeah.
So I get it.
Because it's annoying when you have like games where there's some weird state that can happen where you're like open a menu real quickly while you're doing something else, and then suddenly you have two states running at the same time. Whereas with this system, it's actually impossible for you to be able to trigger two things at the same time, because one state will just, the context will eat up the input. So you can't.
Yeah, not with that attitude, at least. Yeah.
So yeah, that's basically been my week. It's just refactoring and trying to figure out how systems should work in my game. Cool. And then hopefully I can get more into game design. I feel like I saw a question before.
Yeah, there's a few questions I actually want to catch up on. Actually,
yeah. Do you see?
Oh yeah, we have features. I didn't even. We've made things to do this. Let's see here. All right, I found one of mine.
Yeah, Fatboy Slim Shady agreed with enhanced input is pretty sweet. Yeah, go for it.
Fatboy Slim Shady would know, actually. Yep, they would. Okay, so here we go. Where's my okay.
Getting the hang of it.
Boom.
We'll get it.
Getting the hang of it. I feel like I'm a boomer using technology for the first time. All right, so this is from Meza. So this is in reference to, I guess, the dialogue manager plugin that I was talking about before, but this is like a good general question anyway. How do you stop the urge to productionize a tool and release that for others to not use? I guess that's I think that's probably a joke, but there's probably a real question in here of like, how do you resist the urge to productionize your tool and not like release it, right? And there is a big overhead. Even if I were to release my dialogue manager plugin for free as is, I think that there's like an overhead associated with that, because I think people might use it. They might have issues because their games and systems aren't developed to work exactly with it. And then they will say like, hey, can you help me fix this thing, right? And of course I can be like, no, sorry, too busy. Good luck, have fun. Of course I could do that. I would feel terrible doing that though. And then the amount of time and energy it takes to like help people solve these things becomes like problematic, right? Problematic in the sense of that I have a million things to do. I'm working on 2 different games. I have this show and like I'm busy, right? Like I just can't do it. And the same thing goes of like, all right, well, what if I were to productionize the plugin a bit more such that it was more user-friendly and there's less risk of people having particular issues? That would, reduce the number of people who would have issues, but it would still take so much time to take what I've built right now, generalize it in a way that is like good. Because we should be under no illusion or no assumption that what I've built should be in the hands of anyone else. Okay. But to get to that point is a lot of work. I recently ported a plugin, the controller icons plugin, which was GDScript before. Now I made a port, which is C#. That's out, by the way. I have videos on that too. And the process of porting and getting just the port out there was like already a lot of extra work. And this is for something that someone else built. I didn't even have to like solve the problems first. Like they solved the problems first. I was just porting it and making sure it all worked. And then I solved a couple other things here or there. And yeah, it's a deceivingly large amount of work. So the way I resist the urge, to answer the question directly, is I know it's a lot of work and I have no time. So the math does not equate.
Yeah.
That's how I resist the urge. I don't do it. I can't. I just can't. Maybe in the future, if shit gets done and I'm really pleased with the state of my plugins, maybe I'll like put them out there. But right now, it's impossible. It's just not. It's just not doable. Yeah.
I relate heavily because I feel like I need to package shit.
Are you frozen?
No, I'm just sitting very still. Oh wait, am I? Did I
think you are. I mean, you're sitting really still.
Wait, my mic still working? Oh, I can see meters moving. Yeah. No,
I can hear you.
Yeah. Oh, that's a new one. How much? So much for that fucking knock on wood.
Let me help. Let me help you. Okay, let me just make this a little less awkward.
Well, that's never happened before. Wait, I'm still. Okay, there we go. All right, solved it.
Okay, cool.
Yeah.
That was crazy, dude.
Yeah, never seen that happen. That's never happened before. Is this a fucking GDQ run, right?
yeah, true.
All right. Runeson had a question before where do you
I just clicked the seal.
Oh.
Yeah. Go for it.
Do you struggle with spending, and I love that it's quote unquote time on quote unquote game design thinking side of because it doesn't feel as productive. I don't really struggle too much with it because game design is part of the process and it's part of like you're making a game. You have to sit down and think about it. The thing for me is like a lot of my game design happens when I'm not working. So it's like when I'm out walking or when I'm doing something completely else, making dinner or whatever. There's like two sides of game design in my head. It's like the idea part of it, which by the way, isn't necessarily the most important part, like coming up with ideas, because you still need to like verify and write it down and like check off things. And ideas are plentiful. It's the process that sort of makes it become something for real. But like coming up with ideas happens everywhere for me. It's like when you sit down and like actually put it to paper and like put it in the game or try values or, you know, that's sort of the process that needs to happen. And that feels productive to me, like experimenting, trying things, testing. There's a lot of testing when you do game design, depending on what stage you're in, because sometimes you can sit and just, if you're making like an RPG, you need to do numbers and you need to do the math, and you probably sit more in Excel than you do sit in the engine. And in some games, like Satisfactory was the same thing. Like most of the game design happens in a spreadsheet. And you need to sit there and put the numbers in and see what happens and see the relationship, and then you put those in the engine and you see what happens there, and there's another set of testing. But I would love to get to that point, honestly. Like that part of development is super nice, and it feels super like productive. So yeah.
Yeah, and I think Runsan also said that they do struggle with this, and actually, I do a little bit as well. Like as someone who's like primarily a programmer more than anything, I think I struggle a lot with the process of design and art in general, because I don't know what the goal is yet, but I know that process is required to get there, right?
Yeah.
But like I definitely have this thing where if I don't know where I'm going, I definitely do struggle a little with the process, because it's just kind of like, oh my God, am I wasting time, or is this actually good use of my time?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, just glad you're not muted. That's true. All right, should we jump into the next segment? We can save
let's do it.
Some of these questions for later when we have a one-on-one.
I was thinking the same thing.
Yeah.
You'll one-on-one. Okay, let's go.
So we're going to talk a little bit about Game Maker's Toolkit Game Jam.
I can bring up the thing maybe.
Or specifically a chart. A chart.
A chart?
The Swedish chart.
Oh no.
Yeah. We saw a chart on the internets where
must be true.
Yeah, what's the name of the guy who runs Game Maker's Toolkit? I can never remember his name, because I just see the YouTube channel and it's like Game Maker's Toolkit. That's the guy. But anyways, there's a YouTube channel called Game Maker's Toolkit. He makes like breakdown of game design. I think he's mostly known for like his level.
Is it Mark?
Is it Mark? Mark something. Yeah, Runeson just said Mark something as well.
All right, there we are.
Yeah.
Okay, let me just get this going.
Nick, close one, close enough. But he's basically, it started off as a YouTube channel where he just like did breakdown of game design. I'm not sure what his background is. I don't think he didn't used to make games, but he does now. He's released 2 games now. But he was just super interested in game design and like level design and all this stuff. So he did a bunch of really good breakdowns on YouTube. Kind of a little bit too good, if I'm gonna be honest, because I feel like sometimes
too good.
Yeah, I feel like sometimes his videos are framed in such a way where it feels like game design is this like sort of perfect solution like there's a solution to every game development problem, which I don't think is necessarily true, but he has a really good way of like framing game design as this like complex thing that can be broken down, and it's really good, because that's basically how it works, is you break down problems and then you try and solve them in a interesting way. But he has run a couple of game jams. I'm not sure how many, but a couple of years he's been doing this. And he did a breakdown of like all the engines that they've used.
There's data as early as 2021 at least is what they share on this thing, but I'm not sure if it's been earlier or not. But I can. Do you want me to share this now? Maybe I shared it a little before, but we're talking. Yeah. Here. So we can zoom in a little, maybe, so the folks at home can see. Yeah. So basically, this is the interesting thing here. This is what caught my eye, and I was curious about talking about this. So they just finished their game jam. Well, when did this happen? A few days ago, no? August 4th. And there was 9,724 games that were entered into the game jam. The game jam was done, I think, via Itch. That's really cool. But what's really interesting are the engine breakdowns here. So in first place is Unity, 41%. Godot, 39%, right? So this is very, very, very close here. Other no engine is 11%. GameMaker, 5%. Unreal Engine, 4%. Okay. And if we look at the historical data, right, we can see that in 2021, Unity had 61%, Godot was 13%, which is still really respectable in 2021. Yep. And in 2022, Godot is 16%, Unity 61%, and then 59%. Godot getting a bit more, 19% now. 6,800 games here. And 2024, for some reason, I have no clue why. It was a massive jump. No idea. There's a big jump up from Godot, and Unity dropped a little bit. So to 43%. So, and then from 2024 to 2025, Unity lost another 2% and Godot gained another 2%. And they're basically neck and neck at this point, which is really, really, really interesting. But I think what I'm really interested in is, first of all, we can ask ourselves, why is that? Now, of course, there's the drama around runtime fee and shit. And I think that plays a massive, massive, massive reason for why this happened in 2024, of course. But then like the fact that it grew again, I think is interesting and remains a large number of games being submitted with Godot. And I think that it would be interesting to think about like, well, what are other reasons why people might want to continue to use Godot over Unity or Unreal Engine in this case, right? Unreal Engine would also have been, you could have used that for free, right? So yeah, I don't know. Your thoughts?
So I have plenty of thoughts. I think it's easy to be like, yeah, it's because Unity damaged their brand with like the runtime fee or whatever, and they rolled back. For those of you who don't know, by the way, Unity 2024, Unity announced that they were going to change the licensing model. So instead of taking like a percentage of sales, which I believe how it is now and used to be, they were going to have like a fee every time someone had downloaded or ran something that was made in Unity, which is crazy. Like, honestly, personally, I think it's crazy because it's like,
I think I saw hilarious tweets of like developers saying, please don't buy my game or install it or run it. Like
there were people who would make like free to play games where suddenly, oh, it's not the fee anymore that matters. It's how many people play my game. But I'm making a free to play game where like maybe I make a profit of maybe like 5 or 7% of players. So like the majority of all my like sales are not going to account for whatever. It's a pretty weird change.
Yeah.
And there's
it got rolled back. Of course, it got rolled back.
And it got rolled back. But the damage to Unity's brand, I think, has been made. And talking to people I know who've been using Unity for a long time that were going to use Unity during the runtime fee thing, they're like, when I talked to them last time, they were like, well, I don't know, Unity can still pull whatever shenanigans. We don't know. Like, so it's a little bit scary to like invest in using an engine where you don't know what's going to happen in the next couple of years, especially when you start working a game that's going to take like 4 or 5 years maybe to finish. So that's a bit scary, and you can always say that like, oh, that's the main reason why. And I think it does play a big part is to like.
I think it was a catalyst.
It was a catalyst.
Had to have been a catalyst
for
at
sure.
least. Yeah.
But I will say Godot was interesting before this happened. Godot had a like really interesting. I think the engine is very interesting. I think the way the engine works is really interesting. I tried Godot 2023. I think I made like a tiny little game. On stream as well, I think I streamed it, where I made like a little like swipe mobile kind of game, because I was mostly just curious how Godot worked, because I think the reason why I did that was because I just saw headlines of people trying Godot and like just liking it, and it's a pretty solid engine, and you obviously used it a lot more extensively since then. And
I really like it.
Yeah,
it's really lightweight as well. You just download 1XE, you just kind of run it, and then it's quick. It's just fun. It's nice to use. It's such a delight, because I actually work in Unreal Engine right now as well with Among the Wild. And look, Unreal Engine is a fantastic engine. It really is. But like, I just don't really want to work in it unless I have to, right? And I think a game like Among the Wild kind of needs it, maybe. Like, there's so many things that we take advantage of, and like a game like Satisfactory, like, is so well suited for Unreal Engine. So it's okay, I think, to use it for those. But like, if you're doing a smaller thing, to me, I just don't think you need the compile time overheads and all the extra stuff that it can do.
Yeah.
And then in comes Godot, where it's just like, I boot up in so like a second, your game compiles it like immediately, and it's very nice.
There's so many reasons why you want to use Godot or Unity, even for that matter, for like various types of projects. And I think one of the biggest benefits specifically for when we talk about Godot and Unity specifically for like game jams, they're, like you say, they're very, very lightweight, and they're also really easy to get into. It's very easy to just get things rolling with like Unreal Engine or any of the other proprietary engines. You need to like know the ins and outs of like how the engine wants you to set up the game. Like Unreal Engine specifically has like, they have like the game state and the game mode. If you want to spawn in a player, you need to know that you need to use like the player start blueprint. You need to know that, in order for you to set up your game mode, you need to know that you need to look in this specific part of the directory. It's a lot of stuff that you need to know to just get started, and it just has this like steep learning curve just to start playing. Whereas with Unity or Godot, it's just program and just make the thing, make a little node, make a scene node, get it in there,
put it there, attach a script, go.
Yeah, it works. Yep. You don't need to wonder like, why isn't this working? Because I had that when I started using Unreal. There was definitely a time where I like press play and nothing happens, and I'm like, why isn't this working? Oh, because I didn't set up the project properly. Like, I need to configure the project file properly. So it's definitely. It's so much easier to just get into it, I would say.
Yeah. I think both Unity and Godot are, within this particular context, which is a game jam, I think they're just better suited, in my opinion, right? For this kind of thing. But then at the same time, and I think maybe you were getting to this before, I might have cut you off, I'm not sure, but it's one thing to sort of say that, like, Unity had that catalyst of the runtime fee, as well as some other things. Other people have mentioned it, where they were incorrectly targeting folks for license fees. But apparently, anyway, I think it was what was his name? Dean, I think it was. Anyway, The other reason I think is that it's really important to, I think, acknowledge that Godot is just a good engine too, right? We have to like pat it on the back to say it's one thing to get an influx of users, it's another thing to keep them, right? Even if some of these folks go back to their jobs and use Unity or Unreal Engine, the fact that they would choose Godot again the next year, I think is like, it's important, I think, to be like, hey, good stuff, Godot. You do have a good thing going here. And so like that is another part of the equation that I think is important to acknowledge.
And I think specifically against like when it comes to versus Unity, the one thing that I also really noticed when it came to Godot is that like the developers of Godot are very active online, and they're very like, I feel like you notice when they're taking people's like opinions into like their decision making. I've seen on Twitter multiple times, I can't remember his name either, but like one of the main developers have posted multiple times on Twitter where like they're discussing like, I know a lot of people want to see this, but it just won't work because of this. Any game engine is really complicated. So it's really hard to just like take everyone's advice and just be like, we're going to implement everything and everything's going to work perfectly. That's not a good engine. Like a good game engine needs to have, like, it needs to be designed with all the systems in mind, not just like everything needs to be in there. And I think
good game too, by the way. But same goes for games. Good engine software. Absolutely.
And there's so much things you need to take into consideration. Sometimes that limits the engine, and that's something that I think that's going to happen. There are certainly limitations with all these engines, and they've made choices as to what those limitations are going to be. But the thing that's just felt like a breath of fresh air when it came to Godot was just that it felt like, it feels like this is being worked on and this is developing. The issue with Unity, when I used to work with Unity for like 4 or 5 years, and the thing that I was frustrated me was it felt like you were posting requests on the Unity like request board, and then you just pray to the feature gods that you would actually get the thing that you needed. And it would be very basic things sometimes. They would be like, yo, can't we just get good input mapping? Like there was no proper input mapping for a long time for Unity. And just like pray that that's going to work. Or like nested prefabs. Why can't we nest prefabs? It feels like such a basic thing and it would be so useful. And they were just like, nah, that's not happening. And it's really frustrating when you're like in that position where you don't really have control of the engine, because Unity is also not open source. So if you want something specifically for your game, you can't just implement it yourself. Whereas with Godot or Unreal Engine, you can do that technically. You can implement something that the engine is lacking that you really need. And I think that's another part of it is it just feels like the development process for Unity is a bit like black boxed. You don't really know what's going on. Whereas with Godot, it feels a little bit more of a communal thing, I think. And I think that's also a big part is like why, Godot sort of gets that upper hand in the circumstances.
And I think it really is because of the open source nature. Like I suspect the fact that they've been doing this for so long. Like I think that whole team and that whole community must be so used to fielding questions, escalating what needs to be escalating, explaining what needs to be explained. The fact that it's all in the open, if you go through like the GitHub discussions and stuff like that and the requests and why things get cloned, all of this is out in the open. And I think like that whole team of people, not just the people who are part of like the Godot Foundation, but just even all the contributors, I think they've been doing this for so long in the public eye of everyone else. I think they've just learned that skill. And it's just, you're right. I think it is great to have. So, and it's also really nice for me as a user, because sometimes I run into issues and I come across these conversations and I learn a lot as a user of Godot from these conversations, why things get cut down, or they lead me into other things that help me find solutions. So it's really valuable that this is the case, that it is the way that it is.
So I was really curious when I saw this breakdown of like, because another...
Do you want to go back to it?
Yeah, sure. You can bring it up on screen while we talk about it. Because one thing, so general opinion that I have when it comes to like game engines in general is that I always feel that like Godot and Unity are really good engines to like just get started in. They're really good for prototyping. They're really good for that start phase of the project. And I'm only going to speak from experience now, but when it comes to Unity specifically, Unity tends to lack when it comes to like when you're at the end part of a project. So like when you're maintaining your project or when you're like quality assuring your project, I think that's where Unreal Engine really shines, because Unreal Engine is like a much more homogeneous engine. Like all the systems have all the other systems in mind. So you don't need to worry about like, oh, if this part breaks, you know, it's not going to affect the entire game. Whereas with Unity, that can sort of happen because their sort of like approach to things is that they have like a base layer and then you like have plugins basically for everything that you need. So like if you want a proper input mapping, you get the community made input mapping plugin, but that breaks one of your other plugins that you're using for like visual effects for some reason. So that's what I feel like Unreal Engine sort of shines, is that you have better control of your projects when you're in the later stages of it. And I feel like Godot,
it's like more cohesive.
Yeah, and I feel like Godot is a pretty good like mix of those two. I haven't used, like I said, I haven't used Godot enough to be able to like say that or not. But just the way that Godot has been designed, that I've seen it so far, makes it seem less likely to have that sort of House of Cards vibe when you worked on a game for like 2-3 years. Versus like Unity.
Yeah, I'm honestly not too sure myself just yet, because like I'm not at that point yet of polishing it all. One thing that I feel in Godot is that there is a lot that you can just make yourself from the ground up kind of thing. And so it really probably just kind of does end up being on you at the end of the day of how robust everything is. Because I find that things interact fairly well.
Yeah.
But you kind of, you know, you kind of need to build a lot yourself too,
which is true for Unity as well. Like I think you do need to do a lot of stuff in Unity as well.
Okay.
But one thing that I was curious about was like, okay, so we saw this breakdown. Unity and Godot are head to head in the game jam thingy, and I'm curious, like, does that reflect like games released as well? So I pulled up the Video Game Insights. This is like a big report that's released by VG Insights that breaks down. And I think this focused mainly on Steam, because Steam is a little bit more open about this stuff than like, you know, the Sony and Nintendo and those are. But there's a little chart here that breaks down like for 2024. So like over half of the games released in 2024 were made in Unity. But only 26% of the units sold as Unreal Engine and custom AAA engines dominated large games. So you definitely see this with games released. It's majority Unity. So it's like 51% of games released are Unity, and then 28% are Unreal Engine, and then you have Godot is like 5%. But when it comes to like sales, Unreal Engine has a bigger like take on it. I'm not sure if this is units sold. So like a lot of these like large games are typically used Unreal Engine. Those are selling better. So obviously that plays into it. I don't think it's necessarily so much the engine. It's just the fact that these are really popular games.
There could be bigger marketing budgets potentially for bigger productions, right?
Exactly.
They might move bigger numbers. Yeah.
So here it's like 5% are Godot, right? For 24. Yeah. What was the Godot share for GMTK in the game jam for 2024?
In 2024, it was 39%.
Yeah.
But like the other thing to note for 2020, there's 37%. Sorry. Yeah. But the other thing to note, of course, like if that catalyst and shift began in 2024, that could be reflected in a 1-week game jam.
Yeah.
But it's not going to be reflected in a game released, right?
Yes.
Because games can take multiple years. Yes. So we'll have to see in the next, like, I don't know, 4 or 5 years, like what actually happens.
Exactly.
So we'll have to sort of see, I guess.
Yeah. But another really interesting, but on that topic, there's a breakdown they did of like, so Godot specifically. Godot has been the only smaller game engine that has been a significant growth over the last couple of years. So they've had a 144% growth since 2020. So like even before 2024 with the whole Unity thing, it was on the rise. 2022 to 2023, something happened, and that's not because of Unity. That's because of Godot.
When did 4.0 drop? Was that
might have been then actually? Yeah. Because that's when, now that you mention it, that's why I tried Godot, because I saw that 4.0 came out.
Maybe.
Yeah, I think that's actually
I think it was 2023, maybe.
Yeah.
I can see on GitHub just something here. 4.0 closed June, March 2023. Maybe that's Godot 4.0 is here. I'm looking at various little articles.
Yeah.
Do we get a date?
I think that's what it was, because I do remember looking into it by then.
So that might be it.
All the data. By the way, Satisfactory got a mention here in this thing.
Oh, wow, look at that.
Yeah.
Never heard of it.
But it is true. You don't really see too many like AAA games though using a Unity. They usually like custom engine or Unreal still.
Yeah.
Or CryEngine. Because what's the medieval game called? Kingdom Come Deliverance. I think that's CryEngine.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Okay.
So they're still in there. What happened to Amazon's game engine? Do you know what I'm talking about?
Is that the one that did they use it for New World or something?
Oh,
or did they use Unreal for that?
I can't remember, but Amazon tried to make an engine, and they no longer support it. And then Helldivers also used.
It probably wasn't that. They probably used Unreal for that. Does anyone know?
Lumberyard. Lumberyard. That's what it was. Yeah.
Okay.
I don't think that's supported anymore. What's the name of the engine that Helldivers uses that also is no longer supported? It kind of, I don't know. There's a part of me that kind of feels like it kind of sucks that Unreal Engine is getting so much market share of like these big engine or big game. Because like Frostbite is also like, I'm not sure what they're doing with Frostbite. Have they talked about Battlefield using Frostbite or Stingray? That's the one that Helldivers use. Yeah. So yeah.
Have a question.
Go for it.
This is a very important question, by the way.
Mm-hmm.
So the Christinator asks, wait. It's not pronounced Godot?
Oh.
I think officially the Godot Foundation says say whatever the fuck you want. Or something to that effect, maybe without the F-bomb. But it is based on a French play. Is it a play called Waiting for Godot?
Oh, is that what it is?
I believe that's it. Yeah, Waiting for Godot, I believe it's called. And it's like these guys waiting for Godot to come.
Interesting.
At a bus stop or something like that. 1953 play by Samuel Beckett. Is it not French?
I mean, it sounds French, right?
It is Beckett's reworking of his own original French play. An attendant Godot. I don't know how to say it. but yeah, so I don't know. I'm pretty sure if you Wikipedia Godot engine, I'm pretty sure I think they even say there that it's, yeah, they say there it's Godot.
Yeah. I want to start working there and just like say Godot all the time in every meeting and just like frustrate the hell out of everyone.
The D is silent.
Yeah.
Goot.
Wait, the D is silent, so it's Goot.
The D. Goot.
I'm using Goot. It's my favorite game engine.
Yeah, I'm calling it Goot from now.
It sounds like a. Oh, I'm not gonna even say it.
I'm making my game in the Goot engine. I cannot wait for Goot 4.5. Oh my god.
Can we start that? Can we just start that? Oh, it's called Goot. You don't pronounce the D. That's so
Gouda,
good.
yes.
Oh,
it's like Gouda cheese.
Is a Dutch G as well? So it's Goot or something. Oh my god.
Oh my god.
No.
It's getting harder and harder. Oh,
they've taken it too far, bro.
Yep.
The Goon engine. Oh my god, no.
Jesus.
That's some good shit.
Okay. We are running out of time. Are we?
No, we're pretty good. We're gonna die.
Okay. It's just we have a schedule, but no, this is fine.
We have 10 more minutes
This
here.
is fine. No, we don't, because we had the recommendations.
Oh, that's true. I forgot about that.
Yeah, but I mean, we could just do it in 10 minutes. Who cares? Yeah. Okay, so but why do you? I was gonna say like we sort of talked about it. Why do you think that people don't use as much Unreal Engine? Do you think it's because
for game jams?
Yeah, for game jams. Like, so, because we talked about some stuff before, like maybe it's a little harder to just get up and running.
Yeah.
But if you're someone who already knows how to use Unreal Engine, right?
Yeah.
Like, wouldn't you be able to get it up and running pretty quickly?
I think so. I definitely use it. I mean, if I'm in a game jam, I use Unreal Engine. I've used Unreal Engine for game jams as well. So I think it is a bit of preference there. But I do think that a lot of people that do game jams is because they want to like learn how to make games, and like game jams is a really good way to just dive into it. So I can't, like, if I had to venture a guess, I would say that like half of the people in a game jam are people that have never made a game before. That's just like a number that I just pulled out of my ass right now, but that's what it feels like.
Must be true.
That's what it was for me. Like the first time I made a proper game, like not just like fiddling around, was in a game jam in Ludum Dare, and I used X and A.
I use X and A in my game jam as well.
Yeah, X and A rules.
For the same reason, right? It just works. You just move a sprite and then it just kind of runs, you know?
Yeah, kind of. And if I'm thinking back of like, why did I pick X and A, was because I knew how to program C#. And I think it might be the same thing here. A lot of developers might just be comfortable with using C#. And just like, what game engine uses C#? Unity and Godot. I think that's also a really big part of it. It's just like familiarity of it. And if you have never if you've never made a game and you're just like, oh, what game engine should I use? You're gonna pick the one that best fits like where you are right now, even if you've never made a game. And if you've programmed anything, you probably came across C# at some point.
And I imagine that there's a lot of people who are programmers, right? But like maybe they're software devs or web devs, right? And like they're having interesting games, but like they can't really do it because, you know, they have their jobs and they're focusing on their jobs, right? So like maybe game jams are exactly their opportunity to like get their feet wet just for fun, right?
Yeah.
And C# is a common language that is used in those sectors too. Like it's used almost everywhere. It's pretty widespread. But again, that's just another reason. Like a lot of programmers know C# or can work with C# reasonably well. And
I wonder how many are like in my situation where I would love to do game jams, but I just feel like I don't have the time and the emotional the possibility to be emotionally enough connected to actually pull through a game jam, because it is quite like, it's a lot of work. You get very obsessive when you do it. Not like what I mean by that is you really want to you want to spend all the time in the game jam just working your game. So like no sleep, just work. And that mentality, I feel like
afterwards.
I'm too old for that. The last game jam I did, we made a promise, because I did it with Dylan, and we made a promise like we're gonna sleep full 8 hours, full 8 hours of sleep. We're not gonna crunch that way, and we both ended up doing anyways.
No, not gonna crunch. We're only gonna work for 16 hours a day.
Yeah. So like, you enter like a different mindset when you game jam, where it's like, get shit done, which it's like that hustle energy. I feel like I don't quite have that anymore. I used to have it when I was younger, but not so much anymore.
I think the biggest issue for me is that it's the recovery period of it that affects me. Is like, if I do that, I can do it for 48 hours, right? And I've done that many times before in game jams. But nowadays, that will actually fuck me for like a week or two. You know, like and I'm not talking just about sleep. Like my mood will be all over the place. Routines are going to be ruined. Like I'm going to fall behind on work. It's the knock-on effect is just going to be so huge.
Yeah.
There is a quick question from Shinny actually, which is a standard question. Actually, one second. There's just a little typo in it, so I'll just redo it. Clicked in show. It's a very basic question that we maybe should have answered, or discussed in the beginning, which is, what is a game jam? Okay, so some people may not even know what a game jam is, which sucks, because we're now 1.5 hours into this stream talking about game jams. But if you didn't know what a game jam is, basically it is like a short period of time where you work on a new project, and it can come in all sorts of shapes and sizes, and restrictions. Oftentimes there are restrictions, not always, right? So like a game jam can be a 48-hour game jam. Yeah, right. Okay, so there could be like a 48-hour game jam, so you've got 48 hours to make a game, or a 7-day game jams, so you've got a whole week, and you can have a max of 6 people on your team, or maybe more or maybe less, who knows, right? There can also be themes, like the game jam has to have a specific theme. You can be given the theme, beforehand, or maybe the theme is revealed, when the jam starts. So everyone has to start from brainstorming ideas from scratch. So that's how that can work. I know that the game jams that I'd done in the past, way back when, they were these game jams at the university that I studied at, and they would give you 3 words, and you had to use those words in some way, and the judges would judge your games not only on how fun the games were, but also on how well you incorporated the theme and the words as well. So that's something too. So oftentimes when we do these game jams, it's a really exciting time for game developers, or even non-game developers. There are a lot of non-game developers who just dive in and just contribute what they can too. So it's fun. Just having a good time, trying to get stuff done. And the cool thing is at the end, you have something, right? You have something by the end. Games can sometimes be really exhausting in that they take years and years and years, and then your project gets fucking canceled, or maybe it comes out and it bombs, maybe it comes out and it's successful, who knows? But it takes many, many, many years before you get to that point. But if you do a game jam, you have something at the end. And that's always very exciting.
Yeah. And the other really good thing with game jams is that they really constrain you in a lot of different ways. So it's not just the time thing, it's also the theme thing. But the important thing is the constraint, because when you're working on, if you just tell yourself, I'm going to make a little game just to try making games, you're going to not commit to anything. You're going to start working on something and you might make something, but you will never release it. You'll just make a little prototype thing and then it'll just die. Whereas with game jams, it's you're committing that after these 48 hours or whatever is over, you are publishing this thing, whatever state it is. And I think that's the cool thing, is it doesn't have to be perfect, and you don't expect it to be perfect either. Some people are way better at this, making these small games and making them really polished. But they've also made game jams ton of times. I think every time I've been in Ludum Dare, the winner has always been someone who's oh yeah, this is my 20th game jam or something like that. So they just really got accustomed to
there's an art to it.
Yeah.
I actually have a couple game jam little trophies. Do you want to see them?
Oh yeah.
All right. Shit, I forgot to put pants on. One sec, I'll be right back.
Classic.
I'm kidding, I have pants on.
Yeah. You just walk off. It looked like Jace walked on the screen like that just to make a point that I'm actually in my apartment or something. I'm not sure. Oh, here we go. Coffee cups.
Alrighty.
Roomy, get a room.
So these are pretty old. Okay. So this is one from 2011.
Oh damn! What is that jam?
Yeah. So this is the game making challenge thingy that we did at my university. So it was this one really big hall. There's if you guys know Brendan Kyo, I don't know how to say his name. Kyo, I'm not sure. He's a writer, game writer. Does articles and stuff like that. He did a really interesting article about this because he followed this, I think it was this game jam, and he interviewed people as they were working on stuff, and he made this 3-part Ars Technica article covering it basically, and just telling everyone what it was like and how the projects were going. It's a really interesting story. But yeah, so we won that one, which was really cool. And then in 2013 we won another one as well. So that was pretty cool. Won those 2, and the prize was jelly beans. Now, folks, these are the same jelly beans. Yeah, these are the same.
You could probably sell us on eBay.
From 2011. Okay, yeah. So that's 14 years old. That's a bioweapon at this point. Yeah, 14-year-old jelly beans.
Very nice. Just as another question here, is where do you go to so where does one go to participate in a game jam? So game jams happen usually they're scheduled. So these like most famous ones like Ludum Dare, I'm not sure if they're still doing Ludum Dare actually. What happened with that? Anyways, there's a game jam calendar that's on itch.io. I think it's this one. Wait, let me confirm that I'm posting the right link before I check into this. Brekkie, Scream. I just want to see a game jam that I recognize here. Such as Ludum. No, Ludum Dare is not on this list. All right, whatever. I'm just gonna post this link. It's probably fine. But there's a couple of like calendars that you can check out. So Itch has one. I think there's another one on Let's Make a Game, I think. Might be thinking of something else. The thing is too, like, what just happened? I just had a heart attack. I saw a picture of it. Game Jams Calculator. But so yeah, there's a bunch of organized game jams. There's like also global game jam, and yeah, here it is. So there's a couple of them. So just find one of them that you think looks interesting. Sometimes the game jams themselves are themed. Like Game Maker's Toolkit obviously is the YouTuber Game Maker's Toolkit that like hosts their own, and they're also like annual. But just seek him out.
Because it just supports people like creating those game jams, right?
Yeah.
Like I think that there are like game dev content creators or game dev people who were like on Twitter. I remember there was like Sophie Holden way back when. I don't know if they still do this or not. But she would create like just game jams, random game jams all the time. And then just the people who followed her would just like take take part rather. Yeah, it's really, really cool that they can just do that. Maybe we should, State of Dev jam.
Yeah, could.
One of these days.
No, who knows?
Could be good, maybe.
If I don't have, I mean, if I don't participate, we can just judge.
Yeah, we could just be the judges. Yeah. Who knows? That could be fun.
I mean, that could be.
But
cool.
like, then the other thing is, you can just, you and your buddies can just do one yourselves, right? You could just be like, all right, everyone's camping at my place. 2 days, we're ordering pizza. Whatever, and have a good time.
And if you don't want that, like, if you still want the constraint thing, you can just look at another game jam that happened and just like take the theme from that.
Exactly. Yeah.
Just do that.
Or if you want to do like the do 3 word generator thing, find a word generator online, press it 3 times, take those words.
I mean, there are game jam.
Theme generators, right?
Generators.
Yeah.
They're pretty good, as well. So yeah. Just go on the internet. All right.
A LAN party with a purpose. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. Bring back LAN parties.
Basically. Yeah, bring them back.
Yeah. Productive LAN party.
Yeah.
Do you feel like we fleshed out the topic, or?
I think so. Yeah. I think like of all the notes that I had, we sort of touched on everything that I had. There's one more thing, actually. There is one more topic. I think you might know which topic it is. Yep. All right, here we are. Here's one thing. This is just a random thing that I have noticed, and I think it happens often, is sometimes if you do a game jam, a lot of the times folks get really attached to their game jam game. They're like, we love this game. It was so good. We finished it. It's really fun. And then they're like, we should make this an actual full game, right? So this is a thing that happens, okay? And first of all, I want to say, go for it if you want to. But I think that there is a word of caution that I would like to impart on folks who are doing game jams. And that is to remember the context in which your game was made. So if I make a game in 48 hours and the purpose is for people to play my game for free, knowing that it was made in 48 hours and there are people who are just going to, try a bunch of other games that were made in 48 hours as well. They're going to play each of them for 5 to 10 minutes each. And they're going to be like, that was really good for 48 hours, It's always important to remember that context is not the same context as like going to someone and saying, hey, here's a game that I made. and I gave it my all for 6 months or a year or 2 years, or here's a game and it costs $5, right? Like those contexts are really, really, really different. And I think that's like something that's just a word of caution, that if you ever do a game jam game and find yourself attached to your game, that doesn't mean your game can't work in another context. It's just that, one, there's a chance it may not work in any other context because maybe you targeted specifically the assignment of game jam, but also that if you wish to shift it into a different context, you need to just be a little careful to make sure that like it will work in another context, and be mindful of how much additional work that might be. Yeah.
But then I hear chat. I'm emulating chat right now. But then I hear, but Jace, weren't insert game here made as a game jam game originally?
Goat Simulator is the popular one, right?
Yeah, wasn't Goat Simulator a game jam game? How come that worked? Wasn't Satisfactory a game jam game? How come that worked? Right?
Yeah. Do you want me to answer?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, because you're chat. All right. Sure, you're chat and I'm the streamer. I suppose I should answer. Okay. So I think it's just first of all, I think it's a confirmation bias to start with. But like, I think game jams can be a great way to find new ideas. But I think the other thing is that the intention when, like, even when I wasn't there when we were game jamming games for Goat Simulator, but I was there when we were game jamming games when Satisfactory came along. And the intention whenever we game jammed these games was never to make a game that was good in a week. It was always to make a game that was going to be potentially our next game to ship, right? And so that's what we were targeting. And so game jams were still good in that sense because we split the team up into many groups and we got a lot of different and varied ideas on the table, and we saw what was good and what wasn't good. And in the case of Satisfactory, there was an overwhelming interest in Satisfactory. So that's what ended up getting more attention and then being developed in the end. But I think that is a key difference there.
Yeah,
it wasn't a game jam in the same way as just a random 7-day game jam.
There's a very different
that was going to be judged. Yeah,
mindset you have when you set out to create a game jam with the intent that we want to make a game with this, because it's more of a like longer brainstorming / implementation cycle of potential ideas that could become something. Then like they have different premises, I would say. And sure, there can be cases where someone makes a game jam game and it's like, this is really good. And, you could just polish this up and you could sell it. I think those games are very rare, first of all, when they happen. But also, even then, they still need to be like altered to fit the premise of this is going to go on Steam and this is going to be a full-fledged game.
To meet the expectations of people who are looking at them, they're not looking at it as though it's a game jam game. They're just looking at it as a game on Steam next to other games on Steam.
I also don't know how much of like when it comes to Goat Sim specifically. I've also heard that it wasn't really a game jam. I'm not sure. Yeah,
but like I think the thing is I also don't really think that Satisfactory was a game jam.
Yeah,
like it depends on how you like. Maybe we get into semantics here, but like I think if that was a game jam, then there's no such thing as experimenting with ideas in games.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Because like it was a long period of time. It wasn't 48 hours. It wasn't 1 week. It was like at least 1 month. I want to say more than like maybe 2 months of like development. Yeah, like I feel like this isn't really a game jam. Like a studio didn't Mika make like a video at Coffee Stand where they did a 1 week game jam. Those games that came out of that are very different to the games that came out of what we were doing over 1+ months. Trying to make our next project. So in a way I hesitate to even call those jams.
Because again, it comes down to the scope of things, right? When you're making a game jam game, you have to, scope is like the most important thing. You can't set out to be like, we're going to make an MMO game jam game. It's like, no, you make like a parody MMO game jam game, right? Like you make something that fits the scope of it and the context of what you're creating with it. And, It's just the production side of things that always comes up when it comes to these things, and it's really important to consider.
Yeah. And like Runeslight says here, how much time was between jam and release? In the case of Satisfactory, I think it was like 2014, 2015, something like that. And then early access was that 2019? Yeah, so it's like 4 years.
Yeah, I think
March 2019, I think it was.
I think 2016 was when the jam was, wasn't it?
Maybe it was 2016.
It was before I worked there, but I always hear 2016 as being like this is when it all started.
I think it's when it started, but like after the jam, I think that there was still like other projects that were being worked on.
Okay.
It's not like after the jam ended, everyone stopped. That's not the case.
Yeah.
It still took some time before the other projects like fizzled out. Yeah.
It's complicated.
Yeah.
It is. I mean, Corvustain is like a bunch of people, so that's the case for everything, right? Like it's the same thing with like Cyberpunk. The development of Cyberpunk started back when, but they didn't fully start working on Cyberpunk until like way later. And that's something that I see typically all the time at studios. It's like they have a project they're working on, and then they like segment people over to those projects. You can never really like throw everyone on one thing immediately if you have other projects already going on.
Yeah.
But I digress. All right. Now I feel like we've touched on all the topics that we want to talk about this. So let's hang out a little bit with chat.
Yep. Did we do recommendations or?
Oh yeah, no, I keep forgetting. Sorry, dude.
Yeah, I was right there in our schedule, dude. Yeah.
It is, and I keep like blindsiding it. All right, we're gonna do a little bit of segment here called recommendations. We're just gonna recommend 2 games, and Jace will start it off.
Well, can you start it off? Because I'm actually.
I wanted to.
I'm gonna demo the game.
Oh yeah, that's true. All right, I'm gonna pull up the game.
Yeah, so I'm opening it.
Yeah, so the game I'm recommending this week is, just make sure I'm in the right scene, is a game called Iterating, which is made here in Gothenburg. Hell yeah! This game has been in the development for a really long time. I don't want to say a number, but it's a long time. And it's finally out, and it's basically like it looks like this. It's like a little stealth narrative-driven stealth game. And I didn't know too much about the game other than what I've been told from friends who worked on this. But it is really good. It's a really high quality game. And it's supposedly kind of short, which I like. I think that's a plus sometimes. So
yeah, I'm always in the lookout for a good short game. All right, if it's short, you said it's spy, like stealth.
So it's like stealth. You're like sneaking around this like very beautiful city. You're like avoiding guards, sort of, and it's like a puzzle game, right? Like where it's you see the environment, and you're like, oh, how can I sneak past these guards? I have to figure out like a way to distract him while I go over here. And obviously the puzzles
this
get
looks
like
gorgeous, by the way.
Yeah, the art in this game is insane. Like it's super high quality, and yeah, it's really
Did you finish it? And you streamed it, right?
Yeah, so I streamed it yesterday. I still haven't finished it. I'm like halfway through, I think, ish, maybe, potentially. I don't know.
Okay.
But it's really good. Highly recommend it. It's out on Steam.
The demo is generous too. Interesting.
Oh yeah, check out the demo. Yeah.
Good.
So that's my recommendation.
Okay. I think I'm ready for mine. We can swap over. Just swap scenes if you want to.
Just take over whenever you feel like it, baby.
I feel like it right now.
Hey!
My recommendation is Oddsparks. Oh, there's very good timing that look at this delightful little dudes. My recommendation is Oddsparks. So there's a lot of folks here probably that are interested in automation games. And I think Oddsparks is like one of my favorite, if not maybe my favorite. I know that's hard to say, considering that there's another automation game that's very close to my heart. But what I'm actually going to do is I'm going to show you a little bit in the game, right? There's no audio. I don't have anything set up for audio, so you're not going to hear the game. But I love this game so much. I play it a lot as well in my off time. And so one of the things that I want to show, first of all, is, okay, so like, what is this about, right? So let's maybe go back to
Holy
my map. So
iframes,
first of
man.
all, oh no.
Is your
Okay, there
computer
we are.
struggling right now?
Maybe. Should I stop this?
Nah, it's probably fine. It won't break the
Okay.
stream or anything.
Okay. You could do drawing of the map. That's very important. And if I go down to here, oh, okay. This is like, I can't stream this.
Okay, this is too heavy.
It's way too dank, right?
Yeah.
If I move, let me take a look. Okay, this is okay.
I could do it though. I could stream it. Because I also have.
Let's not do it. Let's not do it.
All right.
Yeah. Let's just go to the store page. Let's just go to the store page.
Yeah.
So
you
we'll
can
go
talk
back.
over it if you want me to play through it. I can boot up my save file. You can talk over it.
Okay. But basically, the game is an automation game. But what's really interesting about it, I think the logistics in this game are so interesting. It's unlike other automation games in the sense that you don't just have a conveyor belt that you've got these perfect numbers going, certain amount of parts per minute. You have these little creatures called sparks. And yeah, it has a Pikmin feel because it's like a combination between automation and Pikmin. And you have these things called sparks, and they're basically these little creatures that you throw onto paths, and the paths will pick up, the sparks will then go and pick up things while they walk along the path and drop them off in other places. Now, there are different kinds of sparks. Some of them can move quicker while they're holding stuff. They can hold more things in a go in one turn. So that can like help, boost your throughput. There are trains in the game as well. There are different paths which make the Oddsparks move quicker along them. They've got an interesting setup for fast travel around the map as well. There are these shrines that are out among the map, and if you feed them fuel and can actually automate the fuel in that location, you can actually have a new fast travel point. So it's like an interesting way to have you slowly expand the map and then start fast traveling. Another thing that's really interesting is like because it's these sparks that carry everything around. They have certain rules to how they work. They always walk on the right-hand side of a path, right? And so you have to keep this in mind. This is the real logistical puzzle challenge. You need to think in sparks, right? It's not like other games. You have to think in sparks. So you have to take advantage of the fact that they're always walking on the right side of the path and work that into your logistics and make sure that works correctly, or that you can use it to your leverage. There's another point there, like where back there it was very congested. You have to take that into consideration as well. I know that I've heard some folks say, I'm not sure, I don't like that there's congestion. To me, I like it because that's part of the game, right? Congestion is a problem in the game and you need to overcome it somehow. And the game provides you tools to overcome it at some point, right? Not only that, they've also got this really, really, really good logic system where you could hook up all these wires, levers, all these like different things. They've got like AND gates, NOT gates, and OR gates, and NOTs to flip signals and all that kind of stuff to automate whether things run, whether blockers pop up to block sparks and all that kind of stuff. It's this really adorable game, but it's also deceptively deep and complex. And it when you look at the game and when you hear the game and you look at the animations, it has no right to be this gorgeous. It has no right to be this difficult, right? It's kind of cruel in that sense because it lulls you into a sense of security. And this thing that Snutt's doing here is he's launching his sparks, and this can be useful for automating them to attack enemies in an area to collect resources from, because there is combat in the game as well. There's also cliff areas where you need to deal with verticality. There's temperature control. Certain buildings work better in, hotter or colder regions, as you have to handle that as well. There are some resources that you need to manage a good efficiency rate. Otherwise, they'll overflow and kill your sparks. It's insane. Yeah. What you have to deal with. Yeah, I highly recommend this game. And just to echo what you're saying here, like the thing that really was such a breath of fresh air for me when it comes to, because I played a bunch of factor games, and I feel like at some point they're just like, it's a factor game, you get the gist of it. But it really feels like the whole sparks being, because these are your conveyor belts, basically, the sparks running around here. They are like your main problem that you're solving throughout the entire game.
And it's just so interesting that it's not like you just don't plop down a conveyor belt and just like, oh, that's it, and you leave it. No, you have to like actually think of like, but how do I make the move? And like, I want to make this thing, you know, how do I solve that problem in a good way to like take advantage of the space? It's such a interesting take on the factory like element of it. And it's probably hard for someone who's never played it to just see this and be like, I don't get really what's going on. But there is a factory going on here, and this is like an automation of capturing enemies when they spawn here as well. So that part blew me away when I realized like, oh, you can automate attacks as well, like attacking enemies and shit.
Yeah, it's super cool. And there's like a town that there's a bunch of people there, and you have to do quests for them, and the town expands over time and all that kind of stuff. So yeah, there's just so much in this game. It's just kind of bizarre, but like, yeah, it's great.
Highly recommend it.
And like the fact that the like logistics are much more like organic rather than like, I don't know, they're not, it's not like perfect spreadsheet stuff. It's not as industrial, right? Like, which is what you're used to in automation games. And I know a lot of folks like that shit. You know, you want to get your perfect 100% efficiencies. Like, you can get things working perfectly, and like that satisfaction exists, but it's just not the same as other games. And so it's like, it's just important to like note that, it just does things a little differently, but that like accomplishment and achievement is still there. Anyway, that's my recommendation.
It's a good recommendation, I would say. I stand by it.
I'll stand by it.
All right, now we can chat with chat.
Yep.
Chat on chat.
All right. Chat on chat. Let's go.
Let's go. It's the green staff thing. It's like you can customize your character. So like you have, the premise of the game is that you find some kind of like stick or like some tool that makes you command these like little, what are they called? Sparklings. Yeah. And as you play the game, you discover more of this like ancient tech. But it all comes down to the staff thing, because that's the thing you whistle with them so they come to you.
Yeah. You can have a pretty gay cape. That's actually
it's
true. Yeah. Available on PC and consoles. That's true. I think also that just note, I think there's no multiplayer on consoles.
Oh, is that
unfortunately? But you know, I think so. I'm quite certain of that. But yeah. Just be wary of that, or go research that.
But there is some PC.
There is on PC.
Or it might be that. Wait, yeah, maybe we should look that up, because I think it could be that. Oh no, whatever. It's good. Get your friends. Yeah, okay.
I'll look it up.
Yeah, Shini just mentioned, I hope they bring multiplayer to consoles. And they might in the future. But if you're on PC, then they have it. And it works pretty well. All right.
Yep.
How are y'all doing? We winning? We're winning, chat?
Are you winning, chat?
Remember the goals from that mod in Minecraft? I've only played Minecraft once, and it was during an April Fool's stream. That's the only time I've ever played Minecraft. It's gonna be the last time. Jace did something funny. That last time I've seen you play Minecraft once, and that was when you were streaming with Lena, who's a German streamer, and she was speaking in German. She was speaking in German, and Jace was just like, "I guess we're doing this," just like reacting to it or trying to like get by, I guess.
Giving her a shout out. Yeah. There she is. Yeah, it was really good. That was the premise of that was that she would only speak German, and she committed so hard. She would not speak English. It was great.
Yeah. So good. That's where the fuckle came from, the meme.
Exactly.
In Jace's
and can confirm as of 3 months ago, at least, there was a confirmation from the devs that there's no console on multiplayer.
Okay.
Right now, it's not available. Yeah. But yeah, exactly. It was good. Yeah, that's the fuckle command. Yeah. No one knows what I'm talking about.
No, it also doesn't play during the State of Dev show. So like, you're just going to have to imagine the fuckle.
Yeah.
Just imagine the fuckle. I'm going to go back to a question that Runeson asked before. So he mentioned, I imagine you guys have some formal ticket system at Coffee Stain. Are you using Trello or otherwise for planning processes, or like what works for you? Do you use any planning tool or anything?
Yeah, I use Notepad. Actually.
Yeah. Do you, because I think you make like to-do lists, right?
Yeah, I make to-do lists of what I need to work on, immediately in front of me, and then that's it. And then I just work on that to-do list.
But how do you communicate to your team of one person?
I don't have a team. Yeah, exactly. But at Nuggets Entertainment, when I work on Among the Wild, like we use a bit of Trello, and then we also just have like a Miro board, which has just like, we just sort of like be like, this quest needs these things or whatever, and then I can see that I need to do those things. So, yeah.
I can talk about this for ages actually, because I have completely changed my like mindset to this. So what I do, I'm actually going to draw a little bit. So what I do is I have a mind board or a mind map where I like list features. So like run is a feature. Running. This is a bad example, but so I make like mind maps of like all these features and I break them down like, okay, so if I want to run, I need to make like animations. I need to have like, and for me to make an animation, I have to have a reference. So I make like these like mind maps for all the features in my game. And even like game design, I'm like, oh, if I'm going to have an enemy, like here's my enemy, I break him down like enemy type A, enemy type B. And I don't really have like to-do lists or anything like that. It's just that I just break it down and then I mark like what I'm working on. So like if I'm working on A, I just mark this to be like yellow or green or whatever. So I know what I've done and what I worked on. And I've been really pleasant with this way of doing it because I have like a big board of like all the ideas that I have and all the other things that I can do. It doesn't always have to be game design. It can also be like engine things. So like I need to refactor, a system. That's what I have right now. I have like a refactor node and I break it down and I add like because I'm using Obsidian. So I add like the little hashtag, like this is a programming task. So I can like quickly glance of like which programming task do I have in the mind map right now. I need to change the, what's the video you always made for Satisfactory? The attachment system. I need to refactor the attachment system. So that's like a node in my mind map. And instead of me having like because I think the typical way that Trello does is the Kanban style where like you have the doing and like the to do, and then you just like list features like feature A, feature B, feature C, and then you move them into like the next thingy when you work on it. And then when it's done, it goes into this list. I just like not doing that anymore because it makes me focus on like what actually is done and what I'm working on. Like I can sort of, it works for me because I'm solo, right? I don't really need to care about anyone else. So for me, it's more just like a big, here's what I'm working, here's what I want to accomplish. And then my tree just like grows and then if I add stuff that I won't be working on, then it's just nice to still have it in the list of things. I'm trying to bring it up myself, my one, but I can't right now because there we are. Hang on a second. Spoilers?
Yeah, I don't know, there's something wrong with my PC. No, I can't close Explorer and I can't open Notepad. So that's kind of weird. The stream might end soon, who knows? But, actually did it. But yeah, I mean, I do something sort of similar, honestly. But it's just not a visual thing. It's just like with my notes. So I can maybe show like what it looks like. Let me just see here. It's not exactly the same as yours, but it's like, I don't know, it might still be interesting. Maybe not.
because
maybe people will be like, how the fuck do you work like this? Like, I don't know.
Well, that's the benefit of being solo, is that you don't really need to care about anyone else. Because I think it's a big part of when you're using these tools, or like planning tools, it's like it's a bit of a thing where the team needs to agree that like this is a good way for us to do it. It's also like for production to be like, but we need these tools to know what's happening, and like so we can check things off. So there's a bit of like a thing where you all like agree on what works. And I don't think there's a universal solution. I think a lot of companies are always like, let's just use Jira, and it works for some studios, and for some I don't think it does. But it depends, because like we don't need to like do quality tracking or anything at this point, right?
So here we are. If I could use a stone tablet and chisel, I would. But for now, we'll make do. We'll make do with todo.txt.
Yeah.
And this is just kind of what I do. So it's like if I have like my feature, so like you had this like drawing of like, well, what are the things that you do? But for me, I just describe in words like all these like in real like detail, like what it is exactly I need to do. What are all the edge cases that I need to handle? And then when I'm done, they just go underneath the done section. Like that's basically it. And then that goes on forever and ever. And I may just not go too much further down just in case, because I haven't actually vetted it all. But this is basically how I work. A lot of this stuff I need to move down because I haven't done this one yet. This is done. This is done. And this is done. So this all needs to be moved down. And this is done.
You have to create a Jira ticket.
This is done. I need to create a Jira ticket to move everything down in my Notepad file. Yeah, but this is literally how I work. I have a bunch of these like things like this. But what I try and do as much as possible is I try and, usually if the task is a programming task, I try and get like the best idea or plan of how I want to tackle things thought out beforehand. And I do a lot of that thinking while I'm walking, while I'm having a shower, taking a shit, whatever. In bed, lying down, sleeping.
Taking a shit in bed?
Sleeping, I do a drink. We should take a shit in bed, yep. Take a shit in the shower, okay? Waffle stomp that shit down, all right? Save money. I'm a solo game developer. I need to save money, all right?
I gotta be spending money
on toilet paper. Are you kidding me? All right, okay. But yeah, so I think all those things through at those points, and then I write them down, and then when I sit down to work, I get to, yeah.
I think the only important thing for me, because I could just not use any planning tool either. I think the only important thing for me is just some way for me to see what I've accomplished, because I think it's so easy to just be like stomped by progress of working on something. It's just nice to be able to see like, look at all these green things that I've done. Like, look how much I've accomplished over time, though. It's just I need something like that sometimes. Sometimes these tools
makes sense.
Sometimes these tools are just superficial, and it's just there for me to feel like I am productive. I feel like
right.
Yeah. So yeah.
Cool. Any other questions, chat?
Yep. Hit us up with about anything, life, games. Yep. You risk blocking the shower?
Same
no.
thing.
Jace has a method.
Yeah, I've got a method.
Yeah.
There's a method to the madness.
Jira feels too heavy-handed. It is very. it is pretty chunky. For sure. It feels like you need to learn so much about the tool to be able to use it, and I always feel like when that gets in the way of making things, it becomes very like, corporate.
Yeah. How does ink come out of a pen? Arcane magic.
Oh, I just watched a video about this. Is Dune's popularity plummeting as a suitable topic of a conversation? Actually, okay, so not that specifically, but something that I often see. Actually, I'm gonna add it here as well. So something that I constantly see on this like sort of same topic, it sort of touches this subject too, is that people see like, oh, no one's playing this game anymore. The concurrent player numbers are plummeting. It's a dead game. I think it's dangerous to always view games like popularity on just the CCU. I think we've been trained to look at CCU based on, I think it's the mobile market or something. I don't know what it is, but it feels like we focus too much on CCU sometimes, because you can have very alive communities and very alive games without many people concurrently playing them, but still have like a big player base behind it.
Do you remember? Well, no, maybe we never shared. Never mind. I was going to say, okay, the thing that I'm curious about, because I don't actually know, is like I imagine that if you looked at the Satisfactory CCU between like the big major beats, it would have been like decent, but it wouldn't have been like these massive, insane numbers, right? Either, because I don't know if that's the normal standard between major beats. But then when we had big beats, the community came alive, and like we would break our own records time and time again.
Yeah.
And they're not just our records; they're like impressive numbers, right?
Yeah.
So like, yeah, I don't think CCU is the whole story. I think it depends on the game.
So CCU is concurrent users. Like how many are playing the game right now? And Steam are very open about that stuff. So if you go to like SteamDB or even Steam's own store, where's the SteamDB? If you go to like Steam, they have like top 100 playing, right? Like right now, 1 million people are playing Counter-Strike 2. Which, by the way, Counter-Strike 2 had a weird uplift recently. I don't know if anyone figured out why. There's like way more people playing Counter-Strike 2 now than ever before. And
you know what other game has had that uplift?
Which one?
Old School RuneScape,
really?
By the way, has just broken its... Yes, Old School RuneScape has broken its...
Wait, what?
Yes, its own record.
That's crazy.
240,000.
That's crazy.
CCU.
Do they know why?
I know that a bunch of like WoW streamers have been playing it recently for the first time, and that might be a bit of like a thing going around. But the reality is, Old School RuneScape, like I think, has always just had more players than the new RuneScape. I'm pretty sure, and the numbers have always been really good. And that studio has constantly been creating new content, constantly engaged with their community. Their community management work is incredible, and the way that they incorporate the community in their decision making for the game moving forward, like. It's just really impressive. So like, I mean, I don't think that game's on a decline, at all, despite it being mega old.
But so it is an interesting thing where like games popularity of games come and go, even for games that don't really like support themselves either. There's tons of times where games just like get a massive spike of concurrent players for seemingly no reason. I'm not sure if Counter-Strike added some new kind of like new stuff to the game or something like that. I just heard recently that they had the highest CCU ever. And I don't think they've added too much new content. It was, I'm just looking at the numbers right now. But I mean, that was the same thing for Satisfactory too, right? Like the CCU would spike during updates. Obviously, like when you push like a update to a game, people will get interested and want to check it out and play it. Interesting with Satisfactory too was that like when we pushed, because we had like 2 steps, right? We pushed to experimental first, which was basically the update. Like this is when all the new things become available. And then they spent like a month working on fixing bugs, and then we push it on the stable branch. But the stable branch is like when most people would play. That's when you would see the big uptick. So it's not just for the fact that it's new content necessarily. It's just the fact that there's ruckus happening around the game, and there's like, I think that's more important, just like incentivize your community to just play the game again, or for whatever reason, if it's whether it's for a new update or whatever, it doesn't really matter. But as for Dune, I don't know. I feel like they still have a pretty solid. Look at the charts for Dune. I mean, they have almost 200,000 people. No, wait, no, sorry. 24-hour peak, 40,000. This is a really good number. Like 30,000.
That's a good number. That's my favorite number, actually.
Yeah, 30,000 people playing right now. That's a really good number.
Wait, you said 40,000 before.
Yeah,
30,000 or 40,000?
24-hour peak is
What is this, Bitcoin? Like,
sorry, let me show what I'm seeing so it makes sense for you. It's like 24-hour. So 24-hour peak is almost 40,000. 31,000 playing right now. I mean, this is pretty good.
posted that.
It's like if you
compare
30,000
playing right now. I see. Yeah.
If you're like comparing to like the all-time peak, which was when the game launched, right, 15th of June. It's like this is a really high number, but games will always have this trickle-down effect.
Yeah,
mostly.
That's always going to happen.
Yeah. Most realistically, I would say there are a couple of edge cases or sort of like, but I mean, it's still top 66 in the Steam charts. It's top 100 in the top sellers. I think it's easy to say like, oh, this game's not doing.
You couldn't
so
shake
anymore.
a stick at that.
No,
yeah, that's pretty good numbers.
Yeah.
You're playing old school RuneScape right now.
Oh, the rating's gone down. Okay, interesting. I don't know. I don't play Dune, so I don't know too much about it. I just wanted to comment on the CCU because I see a lot of people talk about CCU all the time. It's like this game is dead when it has like low CCU, and it's like define dead game, because like if a community is really thriving, I wouldn't consider saying the game is dead. I think it's just like many different parts of it. But CCU isn't.
This is an interesting point just to follow up regarding Counter-Strike from one underscore. Great username. A bit far-fetched maybe, but Counter-Strike is very playable without graphics card nowadays. I didn't show the thing yet. Please show message. All right, again, Boomer Jace struggling with technology. I mean, it's a pretty good point. Like, is Counter-Strike 2, is that like free to play, right? Or
I think so.
Yeah, I think so as well. So like, I mean, that's the accessibility. If it is quite playable, then like the fact that it's free to play, it's really easily accessible for anyone around the world. I mean, this can really help with numbers. So.
But would that be a reason? Did they make something so it was more accessible? That would.
Yeah, no, I don't.
Why,
yeah, that's what you're talking about.
Yeah.
Like, why that was.
It's just weird how Counter-Strike just got more and more.
It is free to play
because I don't really see anyone talk about it. That's it. Well, that doesn't really mean anything because I see stuff all the time that I don't see anyone talk about, and they're like massive. So that doesn't always equate.
You just might not be in their circles or something.
Exactly. Yeah. We talked about Star Rapture. What about it? It's pretty cool. It's a pretty cool game.
Star Rapture's pretty cool.
I recommended it last week actually. I think they've extended the playtest again. Actually,
that's crazy.
So it was supposed to be only like 3 days, and now it's been like 2 weeks of playtests. And I don't know if maybe they just found it be really helpful for them to have the playtests to get a ton of feedback, or maybe they plan to like actually maintain that build a little bit during the playtest and update it to see like get some reactions to some changes or something. I would assume that it's mostly they just want to like capitalize on the fact that it's like going on and get the feedback from people, have more and more play it. It is really useful to have people play tests. You can never underestimate or understate how much better feedback you get from like, 100,000 people playing your game versus like 40 people working on it. Even though you have 40 people who worked on it for years, just one weekend of people play testing and,
Yeah, it's invaluable. There's like basically no equivalent. Yeah.
You really need that like, you kind of need that harsh feedback sometimes, like the honest feedback. Because even when you like do play tests with like friends or people, or even if you're paying people to test your game, it's hard to know whether the feedback actually like matches the expectation of people who will actually buy the game. So these playtests are invaluable in that case.
Getting a lot of good comments and messages, questions coming in.
So we can top this one off.
I'll take this just because it's semi-relevant.
Yeah.
Just a quick one. So quick thing here from Gimli. As far as old school RuneScape goes, they went on a moderate marketing push lately, paying streamers to play. Oh, so they paid for those streamers to play. That's interesting. Yeah. That could maybe explain the numbers. I know that it was like I want to say a few years ago, but like this could have been 5 years ago or 6 years ago that they broke their peak again at like back then. And I think that time that I'm talking about was definitely a more organic time of growth. Yeah. That was back when I was still playing actively. Can't play anymore. That shit's like crack.
It is true. It could be like marketing. Sometimes marketing hits. Sometimes it doesn't. But it's not to be underestimated.
Um,
I'm gonna take the next one here.
Yep.
Oh, I almost fucked up.
Oh no!
Yeah,
Did you almost cut and paste?
Yeah, I almost cut and paste.
Okay,
So the question is, what do you think? How often features get redone in game dev on average? It kind of depends on. So here's what I think. I think it depends on like how certain you are of what type of game it is you're making. Some games take a long time to just like iterate through, and some games are much more like waterfall, where like you set down and like this is what we're designing, and then you obviously still iterate on things as you go, but you have a much more like clear-cut understanding of what type of game it is you're making. So it kind of depends on that, I would say, more so than anything. I've worked on games where there are certain times when you work on games at companies, like for instance, these established companies where they make a game and they're like, okay, now we need to make another game. And it might not come as easy to make that second game. There might not be like a clear-cut idea. And some studios are just like forced into, you need to produce something. And that can be a really tricky situation. I've been in a situation before with a company that I used to work for, where it's just like, we need to make a game. It needs to be for this thing. It was like a pay to hire kind of game. And those type of games are really hard because it's like, you don't come with the idea first and then you implement a game behind it. It's like, okay, we have the premise here. We need to make it work. We just need to dish out a game. And those games can take a long time before you find like what the fun is with the game and so to speak. So I think a lot of features that are redone are features that tie into like mechanics of games that sort of have to do with defining the game itself.
Yeah, more often than not.
Yeah.
Or even if it's not that, but they just prove to be problematic in some way that
Yeah.
they keep rubbing up against other things.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Or if you make like a really like the case with Satisfactory, it was a very technical game, and I don't think we realized how much technical depth we had.
Yeah.
Ended up overtaking production completely. Maybe a bit too much.
I think that was, I think it was one of those things as well, right? Where it's like, y'all probably don't even see how many times a feature was redone because it's not like it was reworked for you. It was reworked so that the game ran. Like, yeah.
So yeah.
All right, I'll take one more. This is a quick one because it was asked a few times, so I'll answer it real quick. Yeah. It's from Holy Helmet, and it's, Jace, do you like playing Battlefield games? No, I don't. I'm not really a fan of shooters, so there's not a whole lot about Battlefield that's gonna draw me into the game. I have, it's no hate towards the game or anything. It's just not my type of game.
It's not your jam.
So
you're also not super into competitive games, right?
No, I don't really like competitive games either. Yeah. So there's really not a lot for me in Battlefield. Yeah.
I'm really looking forward to the open weekend this weekend, the open beta for Battlefield 6. Because I played a lot of Battlefield.
You gonna try it?
Oh yeah, I played a lot of Battlefield.
Back in my day.
Dude, Battlefield 3. Oh, the heydays. So good.
Damn,
so
dude.
Good. Yeah.
All right, got another one?
All right. Yep. Little dog.
Here we go. This one's from Little Dog. Do you watch the series Arcane, and how much do you like it? I have. I've watched the first two seasons, and I loved it. I thought they were fantastic. What a ride. I think I really enjoyed the first season maybe more, seeing how things were established more. But since I was so hooked, the second season was just like, it's just more candy for me. You know what I mean? Like, I'm like, yes, more. I'll just take whatever they throw at me at this point. So, and like I had not really even played League before. Like, I mean, I had played like 1 or 2 or 3 games or something. Like, it was a very, very, very long time ago. I might have played even more League. I'm not sure. But like, I had no investment into the League brand whatsoever before going into Arcane. But I was really impressed by it and really enjoyed it. What about you?
I didn't watch it, and I've never played League.
Okay.
The only thing I watched
You don't
is,
you
like,
don't have to have played it. Just
no, that's actually something I wanted to touch on. I kind of like that there's no like the vibe that I'm getting. Obviously, I didn't watch it, so I'm just based on the stuff that I saw on the internet. I just like that they fleshed out, like they took a universe, they fleshed out and made like it's not the I think there's a intended lore behind League and like characters, and they sort of like sort of touched on that, but not really. They still had like pretty free reign and to do whatever they want. I really appreciate that. I think every time because I've been in a situation myself where when you take someone else's IP, I think it's really, really important that you understand the IP, but also have free reign to make what you want with it. Because I think there's so many times where companies have like, whatever reason it is, like they want to make a show with their IP or they want to make a spin-off game or whatever. I think there's so many times where companies are so afraid to let go of other people making something with what they've created because they feel like they're not going to respect it or they might not like it even. But I think you sort of have to trust that if you trust someone to make something with your IP, you also have to like kind of trust that they'll make something that you probably couldn't have made. But you know, they are the ones.
Let them do it, kind of thing.
Yeah, sort of let them do it and like experiment a little bit, maybe. If that works for the intended purposes of it. Because I've been in a situation where we pitched a game for a studio with a very established IP, and we wanted to and we were supposed to make like a mobile game version of it. And they wanted us to just make the same game but on mobile, and we were like, well, why wouldn't you just play the game on PC then? Like, what if we just make something completely different and it just takes the same universe and it fleshes it out in a different angle? And they ended up not going with that at all, and they just made the same game on mobile, and it didn't do that well.
Oh, yeah. And like, I mean, there is also the question of like the fandom as well. Is like if you do go too far from what people expect, they can get upset. Which is, I can understand, but at the same time, it's like, isn't it better if creators, whether they're filmmakers, game devs, or whatever, if they have that free reign to like maybe evolve what you have into like other areas, you know? And there's only one way to kind of do that. It's like by experimenting with those things, and that's kind of fun. And I don't know, I think they maybe did that a little with Arcane.
That's the vibe I'm getting from it. It doesn't feel like this is what you would expect a League. It was kind of unexpected. Like, and I think that's super important when you make anything creatively.
It was interesting because Dota came out with an anime. Did you know that?
No, I didn't.
Yeah, there's 2 seasons of Dota as well.
Wait,
and this came at like the same time. Yes, this came out around the same time as like the first Arcane came out. They dropped the Dota one first, and that was like, now I'm a Dota fan, right? That's my game. I didn't play a lot of League. I played a lot of Dota. Dota's my jam, right? I still watch Dota to this game. It's one of my favorite games. But let's put it this way. There was no argument from me or other people in the Dota community. The Dota anime came out, and it was decent. I liked it. I liked it, all right? It was an interesting vibe. It was kind of slow, but interesting. I dug it. I thought it was cool, right? But then I watched Arcane. I mean, Arcane was just better. It was just better. It was. Love what they did with the Dota stuff. Arcane was just better. This is coming from a Dota fanboy. He would like nothing more than Dota just to be seen as the better game. But Arcane won in the animation sphere, at least. Yeah, for sure.
All right, how are you feeling? Do we do one more and then we call it a day?
Yeah.
So I can actually answer this next one. So the question here is, do game developers use specific tools to handle like game data or like about characters, items, etc.? Do you guys just hardcode them into the program? So it depends on what tool you're using. There are a lot of tools in like Unreal Engine or Unity or whatever to handle like data specifically. In Unreal Engine, you have like data table setups where you can create your own sort of like, you can make like spreadsheets and put data in those, and you can import it into the engine like directly. It's really easy actually to convert from like spreadsheets into like data assets or whatever. Like you can export it into like a CSV format, comma separated value format, and then import it into your game. I have a lot of work a lot of games I worked on. We just use spreadsheets all the time for everything. So you just define your rows and your columns, and then you define them in the engine and just import them through that. Yeah. And some games you hard code. It is just put the number in there. But the thing that's like really important to always consider whenever you're making anything that has to do with like values in your game, like whether that's like the distance, how far you can see, or like game design, like how far can I shoot an arrow or whatever. It's really important that those values aren't hard coded, I would say, because you want to tweak them all the time. You want to like go into the game, tweak them, make sure they feel right. If you can tweak them during runtime, that's the best. Because then you can just like, with the example of the arrow, shooting the arrow, for instance, like you can just shoot an arrow, try it out. I don't like it, tweak it while you're still playing, shoot another one. That's much better. And then that's the value we're going with. Just like make it as seamless as possible. And if you're working with other people, then, you know, you also want to make sure that it's easy for everyone else to use the tools that you've created. So if I program an arrow shooting system, right? I want the game designers to be able to like tweak all the values and make sure that it works, which is like something that's hard to sort of like imagine sometimes. Like, what is it that they want to change with the system? What should be extendable? What can I extend? Like I can spend a lot of time making the system really robust and make it really easy to change these values. Or if we know exactly that this is how it's supposed to work, then it'd just be faster for me to just make it. So a lot of these tools you make yourself, like for instance, your dialogue system that you showcased before, like that's a system you made yourself, because you know that your game will have a lot of dialogue. Yeah, it's a mix.
I can actually demonstrate this a little bit right now if you'd like. So here's a little demonstration of that one particular thing that you were talking about, which is that it's important like to have some values be, you don't want to hard code them right in because you want them to be really easily adjusted and changed into the code. So here's my dude walking around. Right, and then over here on the left-hand side, we can see I can choose different nodes, right? And this is my main character there. There's all sorts of properties. And here I've got a walk speed property and a run speed property, and I can just change those, and those will change the value that I move at. So now if I choose this remote tab here, this is actually the tree that is running in the game right now, right? So I can find those values again here in remote, and we can see their walk speed is like this right now. If I double it, and let's say we triple this, make this 600 run speed, we should be zooming, folks. Hold on to your lunches. Gas, 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 we're gonna step on the gas tonight. And then I'm not even running. Boom! Yeah, so basically having the ability to like tweak these little values here and there, like without jumping in your code and compiling stuff or whatever, this is like really, really useful for getting look and feel of certain things right. Yeah, that's what Snutt's kind of talking about there.
Yep. All right. What a show.
What a show, folks.
We went a little bit of bored on time today, but I had a lot of fun today.
You did.
That's just how
me
it is
too.
Sometimes.
It was good. Yeah, it's true. Yeah, I enjoyed it. I hope y'all had a good time as well.
And I hope you tune in next week as well.
Yeah, we're going to be live again. Same time next week.
Same bat channel, same bat time.
Bat cave.
Yeah.
Same bat shit.
Yeah.
Cool. All right. Well, I guess we'll wrap it up. If y'all are interested in hanging out, I'm going to continue playing some games after this, so do stick around. Otherwise, we'll see you all next week. The VOD should go up within like 24 hours. We're aiming for like 5 p.m. the next day, 6 p.m. the next day, so you'll have that tomorrow. And also, do we want to... You want to do some
improv?
Outro? Yeah?
Yeah, we can do one improv.
Do a little bit of improv.
See if we can get this one. Last week was a bit of a kerfuffle.
Yeah, exactly. Let's see if we can do better.
Yeah.
Okay. Here we go.
Are you starting?
Red.
Okay. Start over again. I gotta get into the mindset here.
Okay. Lock in. Mind meld. Okay. Blue
was
my
favorite
Berry.
2.
Smush.
Into.
My.
Ass!
There it is. All right, cool. Very good. It's every stream is going to end on ass. That's just how it's going to be. We have to do better. We just have to do better, Snutt.
I hope you have fun, everyone. Thanks for tuning in. We'll see you next week again. Bye-bye.
Bye.